আমি লাইভটা খুলে রেখেছি অন্য ট্যাবে।
Live.
Should I start? Angonadi, should I start?
দেখাচ্ছে এবার কিন্তু
First, let
এইদিকে দেখাচ্ছে
VC sir will enter and then we will start. Okay? Okay, okay. হ্যাঁ বলো। Good morning, everyone. I welcome our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Ashish Kumar De, and guest of honor and Professor Shadhan Chakraborty, our Honorable VP Sir, and you all to the second day of our international webinar, Confronting the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic, organized by the Postgraduate Department of Zoology in collaboration with the IQAC of Triveni Devi Bhalotia College, Raniganj. Today we continue with the same theme to address the different facts of the COVID-19 pandemic. During the course of our webinar, our eminent speakers have unraveled the general immunology of the virus and some aspects of the pandemic. India, which has the second largest population in the world, is suffering severely from COVID 19 disease. Life in India includes urban and rural, and they both got impacted by COVID 19. The disease in transmission was previously epicenter in all the major metro and capital cities of Indian states. However, both people from rural and urban sectors face a real traumatized situation. COVID 19 has created a negative impact on human life also. To tame this situation, the mantras of today are stay at home, stay safe, and social distancing. Three segments, namely the economy, human life, and environment, were severely affected during this pandemic. It is evident that while the first two have a negative impact due to corona, the environment has an immensely positive impact. It is hard to imagine that the traumatic experiences of the COVID 19 pandemic will be forgotten quickly or disappear entirely over time. Lack of trust may grow between the citizen and the institution body. There is no space to celebrate or follow any model as there is a chance of the second wave. So, the path ahead is still difficult and we all need to face this logic and compassion. So, our webinar aims to address such issues that would perhaps help us to act in a better way. Today we will be enlightened about some more of the important diversities and attributes of the virus and the physiological stress factors that need to be tackled during these difficult times. With this, I would like to welcome you all and would commence today's technical session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your inspirational words. With this, we would like to proceed forward with our today's technical session. First and foremost, I would again like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Shadhun Chakraborty, who has always supported our all endeavors of academic importance. I would also like to say that without his encouragement and without his inspiration, this webinar would not have been a success. Moreover, additionally, I would also like to express my gratitude to our principal, Sir, Dr. Ashish Kumar De, without whose endeavor these would not have been possible. As you all know that we are a college in the coalfield area, and along with all other infrastructural problems, we do face problems to organize such kind of seminars in the virtual platform. But it is only because of the help of our principal, sir, that we have tried to overcome all these difficulties and to place ourselves in this platform so that we could do something in a better way. I hope that this seminar would be helpful for us in a better way to understand the situation of the pandemic in order to confront us. I also acknowledge all our team members, all the faculty and the staff of the Department of Zoology whose unstinted efforts have made this possible to organize this seminar for these 2 days. The support of our IQAC, the convener and all the committee members are also important, and the support of the seminar committee is also very much important. So with this brief, I Excuse me, I'm extremely sorry for this sudden interruption as there was a power cut at my place. For this technical issue, I say my sorry to everybody, and I would just like to continue. Please bear with this sort of inconvenience. Okay, so I would like to continue with our technical session. So COVID-19 has sent us back to our cubby holes due to its severity, and we have been alienated from each other, because of which stress, depression and thanatophobia are our partners. So let us join our hands to combat the stress during the pandemic. Our first speaker is our guest of honor and keynote speaker, Professor Sadhon Chakraborty, the Vice Chancellor of Kazi Nazrul University, Asansol. He is a proficient academician with several honors and awards. He has been a psychological counselor and coordinator at the Center of Counseling Services and Studies in Self-Development at the Jadavpur University. He has conducted several anti-aging stress management programs with students and conducted several workshops with non-teaching employees of Jadavpur University on stress management. So may I have the pride, privilege and honor to hand over the session to Vice Chancellor Sir for enlightening us about the stress and its management during the COVID-19 pandemic. Sir, please. I would request Professor Sadhon Chakraborty, Vice Chancellor Sir, please to address us with his keynote speech.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. It's really a great opportunity for me to share my views with you and also to hear from you, which I like most. There are some inconveniences for this connectivity, which is very crucial for webinar. But we have learned in the new normal situation to accept this inconvenience. I mention this particularly because we have to accept many inconveniences like this in our new normal situation due to COVID-19 outbreak. I extend my thanks and regards to the respected principal of this college and all the organizers, the entire team, for organizing this webinar, which is very important in our times, to have some discussion on how to manage in an efficient manner the issues which we are encountering in this new situation. This is very, very important, because unless we do this, if we fail to do this, if we fail to manage the issues which we are encountering in the new situation, our well-being will be adversely affected. Our progress will be more and more disrupted, disturbed. So this is very important, how to handle the issues which we are facing now in this new situation, particularly as desired by the organizing committee to discuss about the stresses, psychological stresses related to COVID-19 outbreak and the new normal living of ours. Right at the beginning, may I mean, what is the time to finish my talk?
Actually, sir, we have about 30 minutes for each speaker.
Okay, so I have to conclude by?
Sir, now it's 11:20 by 11:45.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Should I speak in English only or English and Bangla?
Both you
Sir, it's up to you, sir. We are convenient in both, sir. Sir, bilingual could be much more appreciated for the students, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you.
তো এই যে নতুন যে পরিস্থিতিটার মধ্যে আমরা আছি, সেখানে যে সমস্ত ইস্যুস আমরা পাচ্ছি, যেগুলো আমাদের স্ট্রেস, সাইকোলজিক্যাল স্ট্রেস তৈরি করছে, সেই ইস্যুস গুলোকে প্রপারলি হ্যান্ডেল করাটা দরকার। মোটামুটি আমি এই কম সময়ের মধ্যে কয়েকটা খুব কমন ইস্যুস which generate stress in us, সেগুলো নিয়েই কথা বলছি। সর্বপ্রথম আমি যেটা নিয়ে ডিসকাস করব সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমাদের এই পরিস্থিতিতে প্রত্যেকেরই একটা ধারণা হয়ে গেছে যে কোভিড-19 এই যে ভাইরাস, এটা যদি আমাদের অ্যাটাক করে, এটা তাহলে এই যে ভাবনাটা, এই যে ধারণাটা আমাদের জন্মেছে, এই ধারণাটা জন্মেছে বলে আমাদের বিহেভিয়ারে কিছু পরিবর্তন দেখা দিচ্ছে। যেমন এর সঙ্গেই একটা জিনিস যেটা বলা হয় সেটা হচ্ছে সোশ্যাল ডিস্টেন্সিং। কোভিড-19 কে যদি রুখতে হয়, তার থেকে যদি বাঁচতে হয়, তাহলে সোশ্যাল ডিস্টেন্সিং আমাদের করতে হবে, এরকম একটা ধারণাও আমাদের জন্মেছে। এবার সোশ্যাল ডিস্টেন্সিং আমাদের করতে হবে বলে যদি আমরা সমস্ত কিছু বন্ধ করে দিই, আমরা কারো বাড়িতে যাব না, আমরা কোনো অনুষ্ঠান করব না, আমরা শপিং এ যাব না, আমরা কারোর সাথে দেখা করব না, মানে এখন যেটা হয়েছে, we are afraid of telling our friends that we want to visit your place. কারণ আমি যদি বলি যে আমি তোমার সঙ্গে দেখা করতে যাব আজকে, সে বলতে পারে যে না না, তোমার আসার দরকার নেই, ফোনে কথা বলো, তাহলেই হবে। এই যে সোশ্যাল ডিস্টেন্সিংটা এইরকম একটা জায়গায় চলে যাচ্ছে, যেখানে পারস্পরিক দেখা সাক্ষাৎ ইত্যাদি এগুলো বন্ধ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, এইটাতে আমাদের সোশ্যাল লাইফটা ভীষণভাবে এফেক্টেড হয়ে যাচ্ছে। মানে এটা তো ঠিকই যে যদি কোভিড-19 থেকে নিজেদেরকে বাঁচাতে হয়, তাহলে একটা ডিস্টেন্সিং তো করতেই হবে, কিন্তু সেই ডিস্টেন্সিংটা কতখানি করতে হবে? আমি যেরকম বললাম, এটা এর অনেক দিক আছে, আপনারা জানেন। If we extend it to such an extent that our normal social relationships সেগুলোই নষ্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে, বন্ধুদের মধ্যে সম্পর্ক, রিলেটিভদের সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক, হাজব্যান্ড ওয়াইফের সম্পর্ক, ফ্যামিলির অন্য মেম্বারদের সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক, এগুলোও যদি নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, এই সমস্ত জিনিসটা নষ্ট হয়ে গেল, তারপরেও আমি বেঁচে থাকলাম। আমি কখনো কখনো এই কথাটা বলি, ওই ভেলারে নন্দ বেঁচে থাক চিরকাল, সেই নন্দলালের কথা আমি অনেক সময় বলছি। আমি সমস্ত কিছু বন্ধ করে, নন্দলাল সব বন্ধ করে দিয়েছিল। তার ভাইয়ের সঙ্গে সে দেখা করতো না, কারণ রাস্তায় বেরোলে গাড়ি চাপা করতে পারে। সে মরে গেলে হবে কি, দেশকে রাখুন, দেশকে কে উদ্ধার করবে? সেরকম তাকে বেঁচে থাকতেই হবে, আমাকেও বেঁচে থাকতেই হবে। বেঁচে থাকার জন্য আমি সোশ্যাল রিলেশনশিপ সমস্ত বন্ধ করে দেব। আমার জিনিসপত্র যা কিনতে হবে, বাজারে গেলে আবার করোনা হয়ে যেতে পারে, আমি বাজারে যাব না, অনলাইনে সব শপিং করব। এইরকম জিনিসটা এমন একটা জায়গায় চলে যাচ্ছে যে নর্মাল হিউম্যান লাইফে আমরা যেগুলো পেতাম, যেগুলো খুব জরুরি, খুব প্রয়োজনীয়, যা আমাদের বেঁচে থাকার ক্ষেত্রে ভীষণ প্রয়োজনীয়। সরি
Sir, actually in the YouTube platform, many of the speakers are hearing us, and many of the speakers are from Karnataka and UP. So they have requested me that so your speech is so encouraging and informative. So if it would be in English, actually I just now saw the comments.
Okay. So I'm speaking. So
Okay,
I'm speaking in English only.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So we are making the distance, social distancing, through social distancing, we are making the distance among our relatives, our friends, our members of our families, even between the partners, life partners, husband, wife, so wide. We are making the distance so wide that we are getting deprived of the happiness, pleasure we get from these relationships. And we are doing all these things because we are afraid of corona. We think that we won't be able to protect ourselves if we maintain these relationships. But this thought, this thinking should be reviewed, because these relationships between friends, members of the family, relatives, and also among the colleagues at workplace, between students and teachers, all these are very important. They contribute a lot to the well-being of ours. So we have to rethink, review our thought that we have to exclude all these things. We have to keep all these people away from us in order to protect ourselves from corona. I would say that this is a magnification, a distorted way of thinking. It's a magnification. Banglaয় যাকে বলে তিল থেকে তাল করা, it's a magnification of thought. We are magnifying. Of course, distancing is needed, but should we extend it to such point that we get deprived of the pleasure and happiness we get from these social relationships? Can't we meet both the ends? Are there ways which help us to meet these two ends? We have to protect ourselves. We also have to get pleasure and happiness from all these relationships. How that can be done? That is to be explored. That is to be implemented in our lives. Magnification is a distorted way of thinking. We shouldn't magnify because it affects adversely our well-being. This is one thing which I want to share with you. If we look at very, I am telling you very succinctly, I'm also not expert in this area. If we look at the mechanism, the process through which we get affected by COVID-19. The virus comes to us, enters in our body through our eyes, nose, and mouth. Droplets coming out of the nose, mouth, from a patient of COVID-19, a person who has been affected by COVID-19. These droplets enter into our body through our mouth, eyes, and nose. So we have to protect ourselves. What can I do for that? We can wear a mask whenever needed. Even here, some excess is found. We need not wear our mask always. If your home is okay, if there is no person in your home who is affected by corona, should we wear it even within our home when we are living with our family members? If your chamber in your office is okay, should we wear it in your chamber? Because wearing the mask always also creates some hazards, some hassles. Here also, I am pointing out the need of making a balance. Wearing of mask always and not wearing of mask at all. So we have to wear mask because wearing of mask protects us from coronavirus, but we should not wear it always. So if we can protect ourselves in this way, when we meet our friends, when I talk to them, if we go to our relatives' place and talk to them, then we can wear mask. We can take resort to some other sanitizing processes which are available. So in this way, we can protect ourselves and also maintain relationships in different fields, like different areas, family, relatives, workplace, and so on. The other thing I want to say is, which all of us know, that prevention is better than cure. If by any chance the corona virus enters in our body, because everything is not in our control, in spite of protecting ourselves by wearing of mask and sanitizing, etc., and with in spite of our best effort to not allowing the coronavirus to enter into our body, it may enter into our body. Now, if it enters in our body, we have to fight against it. We have to fight against it. And this fight should be done internally. If we can develop suitable lifestyle including our food habit, including our physical exercise and taking proper rest, sleeping for at least 6-7 hours. So all these things together constitute our lifestyle: food habit, sleeping pattern, etc. So we have to focus on all these things. We have to find out what to eat, what kind of exercise we have to do, how can we have a sound sleep every day for a reasonable period of time. All these things are to be explored properly, identified and followed, which will make us, which will enable us to fight against COVID. So better to reduce the number of affected people by corona if in terms of protecting ourselves from external foreign bodies, corona, like foreign bodies, by wearing masks and etc., doing other things, and also to develop in our organism the immune system, strengthen our immune system through all these things which constitute our lifestyle. See, the immune system is the most important thing in fighting against corona. So the immune system is to be strengthened. And there are various ways which can be discussed elaborately in a different workshop. What are those ways and means by which we can strengthen our immune system? It is to be discussed elaborately. I think some reflections will be available here in this workshop. We have to strengthen our immune system by any means. So what are the ways which help us in doing this? That is another thing to be done. So if we can do all these things, then I think we can fight corona in a very satisfying way, and we can also maintain the other things which we are losing now due to magnification of our thinking about corona. So I should stop here because the time is up. If I have any opportunity in future, I will be more interested to be to engage ourselves in exploring the details, which is much needed for fighting against corona in an efficient manner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative and insightful speech, which helped us to relate ourselves to the different situations created during the pandemic. Really, during these 6 months of lockdown, there have been psychological of Biological Sciences at the Central University Sagar, Madhya Pradesh, as an assistant professor of zoology. Recently, in 2017, Dr. Srivastava moved to All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, as an assistant professor in the Department of Biotechnology. His group is actively involved in deciphering the cellular and molecular interactions between the immune and bone systems, which is osteoimmunology. Dr. Srivastava serves on the editorial and review board of various journals of repute, such as Frontiers in Endocrinology, Scientific Reports, Environmental Pollution, Frontiers in Biosciences, Toxicon, and the list goes on. Dr. Srivastava is a gold medalist during his masters. He has been awarded with the prestigious G.P. Talwar Young Scientist Award twice, one from the Indian Immunology Society, New Delhi, India in 2011, and the other from the Indian Immunology Indian Society for the study of reproduction and fertility in 2019. He is also the recipient of the Science Communicator Award of 2017 from Indian Science Congress. Dr. Srivastava has published his novel research work in various journals of international repute. Today, we are indeed very fortunate to have him with us to share his views on immunology of COVID. So please may I have the pride privilege to hand over this forum to Dr. Srivastava. Sir, please.
Thank you, Angana, for such a nice introduction. And I'm really thankful to all of the administrative staff and the management at TDB College, especially Dr. Ashish and Dr. Angana, who have given me this opportunity to present my views regarding immunology of COVID-19 here. So basically, I'm an immunologist, as Angana mentioned. So I'm just going to share my screen also, starting the talk. So just a minute. So hope this is visible now. Possible?
Yes, sir. We can see the screen.
Okay, thank you. So I will just start with this. So today's talk on immunology of COVID-19, as I already mentioned that. So before going to the talk, I will just go through what basically my group is doing at AIMS in Delhi. My group is basically, we are covering osteoimmunology. That's very specific field of immunology that has developed during the last 15 to 20 years. And that's called as osteoimmunology. So what is osteoimmunology? Basically, that is the integration or the nexus between the bone and the immune system. As you can see, the both of them, immune system, they have basically, Amana, there is a lot of background. Can you just mute all of the other speakers? Okay, thank you. So what we are at my group in Delhi, what we are doing is that we have a small group and we have almost 10 members in the group. And what the aim of our group is that we are basically unraveling the nexus between the bone and the immune system at various levels. And you can see here that my group is involved in how the environmental pollutants are basically responsible for this affecting the bone health, the dietary supplements, how they can help in enhancing the bone health, how the immune system is basically regulating the bone and the bone cells in return are regulating the immune system, and how fertility is also involved in regulating bone health, which is a very novel topic. One of my PhD students is working very hard on this, how we can establish a link between the bone and the fertility and the immune system. Apart from that, we also have therapeutics, how we can deal with, how we can basically inhibit bone loss in various diseases such as osteoporosis or rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis. Along with also we are dealing with a lot of stuff on gut microbiome, how it is governing bone health. So you can see that we are into all of the bone biology at various aspects, and various umbrellas are there. So we are integrating all of them into one. Also, my group is the first to start a new novel field called as immunoporosis, that is the immunology of osteoporosis, which we have done that. So we have a lot of publications also coming in the last 2 to 3 years. So today I have been invited to talk about COVID-19, and you also, all of you know that what it has done to our world in the last 8 months, and you are aware of that. And this is the data which I compiled, I think 2-3 days back, but we have now touched around 60 lakh cases in India. with more than reaching around 1 lakh deaths also. In the world also, there is huge mortality and morbidity and everything is there. You all know this. So I'm not going to talk about this. This is a very recent 2-3 days old only, but it is changing every second. So these are the key events which has basically taken the COVID-19 pandemic to new heights. And what are the therapeutic options? We have seen that. Basically, this is one. These figures are all our own, and we have a review article which is under revision basically. So you can see here how in the December 19 basically they broke out, and after that you can see how in January the NGS sequence was established globally for this virus, and it was named COVID-19 on 11th of February 2020 by the WHO. Then after, since we don't have any therapeutics, there were a lot of herbal drugs trials were started in China. Then after that, FDA approved the hydroxychloroquine for the clinical trial for devising a strategy for therapy against this COVID-19 induced mortality. After that, the FDA, the first drug which was approved for the FDA approved drug was basically remdesivir was there on the 1st of May. And then coming back 20th of May, as of 20th of May until today, more than 160 candidates of COVID-19 vaccines are there which are under development, but still we are very far away from developing a very basically a very potent vaccine against. We still are very far away from that. What I see is that the government is saying that we can achieve that by December, but it's really not the case, because being a scientist, we believe that it has to be very robust. It has to be gone through all the clinical trial stages very robustly so that it should be very effective and safe also. Although we have seen that how Russia has also launched Sputnik vaccine, but there have been issues with the safety concerns regarding that. So till the time we see a very stable and a protective, really protective vaccine, it will take maybe another year or so, or maybe 2021 can see that. So it's not possible in 2020 as we believe that. So before starting, I will just have a look on the COVID-19 structure. So maybe earlier also, yesterday, Dr. Rajkumar has already gone through the immune responses against the virus. So I don't know whether he has talked about coronavirus or not, but you can see here, and you must all be aware of this, that basically the coronavirus is having a lot of proteins which are very antigenic. The first of one and the foremost is a spike protein denoted by S here, the membrane protein M, which is a membrane protein again, and the nucleocapsid protein, the envelope protein, and the RNA itself. And if you see, the spike protein has been in a lot of discussion right now because it is one of the candidates which is used for the vaccines against this, and also spike protein is involved or is utilized by the virus for the gaining entry into the cells. So they have various functions here. It is mentioned here, they have various functions regarding that. So if you see what is the immunopathogenesis of COVID-19, so you can see that the virus basically gains entry into the human cells or any other animal cells to the ACE2 expressing organs. So ACE2 is basically angiotensin converting enzyme, which is responsible for your renin-angiotensin system in the body, which is required for regulating your blood pressure and also the electrolyte balance and all such stuffs like that. So it is important. It is expressed by almost all of the cells in the body, especially your lungs. Heart also does that, kidney, liver, intestine, brain also does that. So basically all of these organs can be affected by the virus because all of these are expressing the ACE2 receptor for through that is exploited by the virus to getting entry into the cells. You can see here it is a schematic diagram of how COVID-19 is entering into the lungs through the nasal epithelium, going through the inhalation of the air, and it is infecting the cells which are expressing a lot amount of ACE2 expression is there on these cells particularly. So what it does is that in any viral infection, whenever virus infects, it basically kills the cells. And here what happens in the case of COVID-19, that the cells are being killed by a process called as pyroptosis, which is again a kind of a programmed cell death, but it is very inflammatory because it releases a lot amount of molecules around neighboring tissues called as DAMs and PAMs. DAMs are basically your damage associated molecular patterns, which are released by the damaged cells and which acts as an antigens for the various immune system or the cells as an inflammatory responses. And the PAMs are also there, which are basically the pathogen associated molecular patterns. So both of these are released, and these released DAMs and PAMs are basically responsible for recruiting various macrophages, the alveolar macrophages, which are already present in the lungs. So these macrophages basically they eat up those phagocytized cells, and in turn is that they release lot amount of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as IL-6 and IL-1 beta. So both of these cytokines are responsible for recruiting your innate and adaptive immune cells. So you all know that what is the innate immune cells. Innate immune cells are basically the first line of defense in our body, which are present from our birth. And neutrophil and macrophages are an example of that. So these cytokines basically they recruit these neutrophils and CD8 T cells, which is again a kind of adaptive immune cells. If you remember that the CD4 and CD8 T cells both are there. The T cells subtypes are there. The CD4 are the helper T cells, and CD8 are the cytotoxic T cells. So what they does is that, so they have been recruited by the pathogen and the DAMs and PAMs associated activation of macrophages. They release this IL-6 and IL-1 beta. This again recruits your neutrophils and CD8 T cells. Both of these cells in a healthy individual, what they do is that they are able to mount an effective immune response against all of these viruses, and in no time, or maybe in a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, basically this infection can be cleared out if you're healthy, if your immune system is very active. But if it is not like that, then what happens is that this inflammatory cytokine, they basically recruit other adaptive and immune system cells, and basically all of these are very, so B cells can also be activated in the germinal follicles in the spleen and the lymph nodes, where they are basically going to secrete your humoral antibodies, the humoral immune system, and the Th1 and Th17 cells can be activated. And against all of this leads to lot amount of cytokine being secreted in the peripheral blood, leading to septic shock, and that's what is seen in your multiple organ failure. And this is the main cause of death of all the patients which are being admitted to the ICU, which because their immune system is not able to take care of the virus here itself. And with time, what happens is that there is a positive feedback cycle, and cytokine storm is being induced, which is basically causing multiple organ failure, leading to death of all the individuals. And it is first of all starts from the lungs itself, and the lungs are damaged, the cells are damaged, and the patients are not able to breathe because of the inflammation and edema and accumulation of fluid in the lungs. That's why they are put on ventilators. And the moment they are put on ventilators, the chances of being coming out of them is very, very less. All of you know that once a ventilator is put on, it is very hard for any patient to come back on the normal support system. So this is again the chronology of events during the SARS coronavirus infection. This is called as coronavirus 2 because we have already seen a pandemic like this by the SARS coronavirus 1, which is also called as SARS-CoV-1 or simply SARS coronavirus. And this is the second strain of that, a more pathogenic and more having the potential of killing all of us. So what I was talking about is that again you can see here schematically that the ACE2 receptor is being expressed by these are all the epithelial cells are there, and these are the endothelial layers of the cells in the peripheral, which are being basically the blood vessel capillary. The endothelial layer is there, and we also see these green color cells which are called as basically your alveolar macrophages. So what I've talked about till now here in the last slide, you can see here this virus particle, the coronavirus particles are basically gaining entry into these epithelial cells with the help of this ACE2 receptor. The spike protein is basically recognizing this ACE2 receptor and being internalized with the help of this TMPRSS2, that is the serine proteases are there. And these also helps in the breakdown of these spike proteins. There's two spike protein, and which helps in its internalization. What is that? That once it is there inside the cell, the virus is being replicated, the RNA is being formed, the proteins are being formed, and the encapsulation is there, the virus is being matured, and it is released. So what happens is that in this process of the virus replication, the getting entry and replicating here and then coming out, the cells are being destroyed. And the cells have been destroyed in a process called as pyroptosis. And this pyroptosis, basically what it does is that it releases a lot amount of viral RNA, the ASC oligomers, the host DNA, and the ATPs. And these all are basically the pathogen or basically the DAMs, the damage associated molecular patterns. And all of these are basically recognized by the immune system, especially the alveolar macrophages present here. And basically this kind of the damage associated molecular patterns basically are being sensed by these innate immune cells present there itself. They cause an alarm for the body that something has happened, an infection has occurred, and we need to get rid of that. The moment the alarm has been raised, you remember the alarm, the fire alarm once it is raised, and these are just like the sensors only of the fire alarm, that these sensors of the dams are basically activating these alveolar macrophages. So what they does is that ultimately the cells dies, and what happens after these alveolar macrophages basically are able to eat up these cells with the help of engulfing them, or basically through what you call as engulfment of these, the phagocytosis, the process is there. So in that process, basically a lot amount of inflammatory cytokines have been released. You can see that IL-6 is there, MCP, MIP, the macrophage activating proteins, and all those IP-10 are there, and all these inflammatory molecules, they also activate other immune cells, the T cells, the monocytes, and the macrophage, which are being recruited from the peripheral blood from these endothelial cells, and they also secrete a lot amount of interferon gamma. So this is a positive vicious cycle is there, which again is, if it is not checked, will lead to cytokine storm. So what happens during a dysfunctional immune system? If you see here, what happens is that once all of these infection is not spreading to the adjacent cell also, and all of the cells are dying, a lot amount of dams and PAMs have been released in the environment, and these T cells, monocytes, especially these macrophages called as the FCN1 positive macrophages, are being recruited to the sites of infection. A lot amount of cytokine has been released, and this causes cytokine storm. So the flood is there of the cytokines, and also we have also some neutralizing antibodies which are not very specific. So what they do is that with the help of activation, with the help of the ADE, the process, they basically cause more positive or feedback of this process. And what happens ultimately, that excessive infiltration of monocytes, macrophages, and T cells takes place in these part of the infection in the lungs due to the cytokine storm. This cytokine storm basically then leads to pulmonary edema and pneumonia, and widespread inflammation and multi-organ damage then follows. But what happens in a normal immune system or a healthy immune system? So once these cells are infected, these infection is rapidly cleared up by the alveolar macrophages which are already present here. They recognize this. Also, we can have certain kind of neutralizing antibody which can also be present beforehand because of the cross reactivity of this coronavirus 2 with earlier coronaviruses also, for example, coronavirus 1 or the MERS which was there. So all this cross reactivity, you can see that not every individual is basically pathogenic or is basically is been infected. They can be asymptomatic, totally asymptomatic, without any signs of infection, without even a cough or cold, but they are carrying these viruses. So why these individuals have not been infected or symptomatic, apart from the others who are basically very symptomatic, and who are also getting admitted to the hospitals due to various problems in the respiratory and other conditions. So this is the reason why, because you all remember that Darwin's fittest theory, that survival of the fittest, or you can see the evolutionary advantages there. Lamarckism, Darwin, and all these people have already shown that if we have certain advantage, we can basically, evolution is very strong force in the nature. So what it does that we all have diversity of various MSC class 2 molecules, MSC class 1 molecules, the B cell repertoire, the BCR, the TCR, the T cell receptors, the B cell receptors. So naturally, we have some population, some individuals in the population, or maybe a large chunk of the individual in the population are having certain genes, which are basically able to create many of antibody neutralizing antibodies which are present here, which are able to take care of these viruses, and these are being neutralized. And once these viruses are in the system, they have been neutralized. The alveolar macrophages are able to take care. So once only the cell which was infected is being also with the help of CD8 T cells is being killed, because the CD8 T cells recognize it, it eliminates it, along with the help of the CD4 helper T cells, which help these CD8 T cells to delete them or to make them dead. And also the B cells, these CD4 helper T cells, they also recognize basically your B cells, which can be basically mediated. So healthy immune system, infection takes place, and the infected cells rapidly clear them, virus inactivated by neutralizing antibodies, and minimal inflammation and lung damage takes place. So this is what happens during a particular immune response. This is again a bird's eye view, whatever I've talked about till now regarding the infection. What you can see here, that how the innate immune regulation of the antiviral defenses and tissue toxicity is taking place. So once the virus is gaining entry into this alveoli, so what it does is that is activate the macrophage, these PAMs and DAMs, and these macrophages then secrete IL-6 and IL-1 beta. What happens in a healthy immune system is that these IL-6 and IL-1B, they recruit neutrophils and CD8 T cells, which are able to take care of these virus infected cells. They clear up this. But what happens in the case of a dysregulated immune response of patients which are more having also other comorbidities, for example, diabetes or cardiovascular diseases or blood pressure or other, or maybe the aging is there. So what happens is that during those conditions, these IL-6 and IL-beta, basically the immune system is not able to take care of, to clear these viruses, and what happens, these neutrophils are going unchecked. They release lot amount of peroxidases, reactive oxygen species, and MMPs, the inflammatory molecules. Basically, then what they do is that they lead to the fibrosis or the collagen or the edema is there, and the lungs are damaged and leading to a lot of problems. So this is again the case. We can see here the case of innate immune hyperactivation. This is what leads to hyperactivation of the immune system. This is a positive vicious cycle, and DAMs and PAMs, they activate the macrophages, and these basically are then able to not able to take care of the infected cells. So this is how this positive cycle is going on and leading to your cytokine storm. So immune dysregulation, if you see here, what happens is that during an acute or controlled viral infection, so once it is controlled in a healthy individual who are able to, or the individuals who are able to come out of this due to also other sort of strategies such like some drugs or some immune bodies. So what you can see here is that once with time the virus gains entry in the body, the first activated cells are the innate immune cell activation takes place, and here the monocytes, the NK cells, the cytokines, they come up and they take care of this, and they basically are activated and they will resolve this with time, and this infection will go down, and this innate immune system will go down, and with that also comes up the lines of defense are the innate immune cells, then comes the late adaptive immune cells or the immunity, in which the cytotoxic T cells, the helper T cells, and the B cells and the antibody are produced, and they are basically long term, and then some of them are saved also. You can see here this titer is there always, and this long term protection is being done with the help of memory and T and B cells antibodies. So during any acute viral infections, both the early and the adaptive immune function leads to viral separation, followed by development of adaptive immunity. But what happens during a chronic or uncontrolled virus infection? So during a chronic and viral infections, persistent virus leads to T cell depletion and exhaustion. That leads to triggering of ongoing innate immune cell inflammation. What happens here? You can see here again that these both figures are quite different. You can see here that with the activation of the innate immune system, but this is not going down with time. This is persisting. There is a persistent immune innate cell activation is there, which leads to lot amount of cytokine secretion and cytotoxin toxicity, the cytokine storm. And also you can see the adaptive immune system, the peak is very low with compared to your controlled viral infection. What happens here is that the T cells and the B cells are basically activated, but the activation after that, since because the virus is present, always present there, it is not cleared up. So what happens is that they are working hard and hard and hard, and they ultimately are exhausted. They're not able to work regularly. So it is called as immunosenescence, that your immune system is basically tired. It is not able to combat these viruses because it is not able to clear them up, and that leads to exhaustion of these T cells. And these T cells are basically our army, the soldiers, the T cells and B cells, the innate immune cells. So if they are exhausted, they are tired, they are not able to get the infection cleared from the body at 100% level, and that's what leads to the exhaustion. And there are also secretion of other exhaustive molecules on their cell membranes. For example, the TIM3 and the PDL1, all these ligands can be seen there, and this leads to the exhaustion, and ultimately there is no memory. You can see here the memory was there, but here there is no memory, and the innate immune system are activated, the macrophages and the neutrophils, leading to persistent secretion of lot amount of cytokine in the body, leading to ultimately your cytokine storm. So this is what can be done. So how can we enhance this innate and adaptive immunity to combat this COVID-19 infections? So there can be various strategies can be there. So one of them can be that we can stop these macrophages, stop these IL-6 and IL-1 antibodies. So we can use some anti-IL-6 and or anti-IL-1 receptor antibodies against these two, so that these are not able to recruit other monocytes and macrophages to the site of infection, and we can stop this inflammatory cytokine response. But what happens is that this is not always bad. If you're stopping this IL-6 and IL-1, what happens is that you're also stopping the activation of the adaptive immune system, the T cells and the B cells, because these two cytokines are basically required by the T follicular helper cells, which are present in the germinal centers, in the spleen and the lymph node, where the B cells have been activated by these viruses. And B cells are very important because they give us the humoral immunity. They form the antibodies which will go and bind to these viruses. So if you're stopping that development or the maturation of these B cells in the follicles, then basically you're also compromising on the adaptive immunity. So it is not advisable in a lot of patients to use this straightforward on the day one or a week itself, because you need some of these antibodies so that your B cells with time of the infection, they have to be matured so that we can have the appropriate antigen specific, the COVID-19 antigen specific antibodies in the system. So it is not advisable naturally to stop this. But if some patient, what is that their immune system is not responding and there is many of the cytokine storm is there, then in that cases we can do that. But if you are doing that, you need to stop the viral infection first with the help of some antivirals or maybe remdesivir or something like that, because we don't have right now any drugs which are able to inhibit the replication of this coronavirus right now. Although many of clinical trials are going on, but we don't have a sure shot thing for that. The second strategy is that I have talked about was that in the last slide, that your T cells have been exhausted. So how can we stop this? If you are able to keep the morale of the army high with the help of certain factors, for example, IL-7 is very much required by these T cells. So once these T cells are activated, they are exhausted, they are losing their morale and they are going down, they are exhausted, they are tired, they will ultimately be deleted or dead via your apoptosis. But if we can give them some IL-7 or some N-acetylcysteine, something like that, which are required for the T cells to come back from so that there's some kind of multivitamins or something like that, which are basically required from some kind of tonic or something like that, which are basically used by these lymphocytes to be in a high life state, or basically they are not exhausted, so that we can inhibit the markers, the TIM3 and the PD-L1 on them. Then basically they can be coming back to fight against these infectious agents. So these can be some of the strategies immunologically that are feasible, and scientists all around the world are working on this. So now you can see how we can enhance that. So either we can use the IL-6, IL-1 blockade, so that the innate immune cells are basically the activated innate immune cells are taken care of. Also, we can improve the T cell survival by basically giving them certain kind of anti-exhaustive remedies. Also, we can use corticosteroids also, so they are basically dampening the immune response, the hyperactivated immune response. Antivirals can be given all during both of these innate and adaptive. And we have also seen that how the convalescent plasma therapy has also worked a lot during these times, although it is very controversial. A lot of studies have said that it is effective, but studies in India and all other countries have also shown that it is not very effective, and it has certain disadvantages also, because the plasma is also containing a lot of antibodies against other diseases also. So it can be not one of the strategies to do in all the patients or the cases. So it depends upon the condition of the individuals. If they are really very, very weak and the situation is worse, then we can basically we can use that, but it has to be limited. So this is what happens during a normal what are the antibody responses during a COVID-19 infection. So you can see here, once a patient is being infected, so they are basically asymptomatic till the 5 to 7 days. They don't show any symptoms. At day 5, you can see one set of symptoms start to appear in them. And with that, the patient, after 14 days, the peak is there. And after that, the patient begins to recover. And it takes almost 28 days for that, basically, the patient recovers fully. So there is no viral infection is there. So this is basically asymptomatic stage till 7 days, and the patient recovers. You can see here the virus RNA and antigens are there till around 1 month. But they are not infected. They are not basically infectious during these times. So what happens, and our immune system is basically activated, is taking care of this infection only around after a week. So once the first IgM are being detected, and with time around 14 days, this picks up, because these IgMs are being secreted by the B cells, and the B cells, they need some time to respond or to make that. They have to prepare for that. So once an infection comes up, the T cells have been activated, as I already talked about, in the lungs. T cells, the T helper and the CD8 T cells, they go to the site of infection, they take up that, and before that, the macrophages or the dendritic cells present there, they will take up the antigen, they will present as an APC, antigen presenting cell, to these T cells and the B cells, and these T cells will then again help again the B cells again, so that make a very antigen specific matured antibody. So that whole process takes around a week. That's why the innate system till that time has to take care of these infections, and that's why we also have to depend upon the innate immune systems, and they don't need to be hyperactivated. If they are hyperactivated, they will lead to cytokine storm. That's why we need to give some antivirals to stop the infection during that particular time in most of the patients who are not able to clear these infections naturally. And after the 7 days, the IgM come up, and around the 14 days, you can see IgG, the more potent form of antibodies, they come up, because IgMs are very are very general, they are pentameric, but IgG is more matured, more antigen specific, high affinity for the viruses, and they are the ones which will be able to clear the pathogens or the antigens or the viruses from a body very effectively. And this will take place only around 14 when you see the patient starts to recover. Due to this only that we have a lot amount of IgGs coming up, and this is the basis of the rapid antigen antibody test which is being performed everywhere. So you can see here that although when this is only effective once the patient is started to recover, until 14 days he will not be able to. So all these patients who are asymptomatic or who are symptomatic and who are only 14 days, around 14, then only you will be able to detect these antibodies. Until that time, they have already been very infectious, and they have been in the public, and they have been already transferred the virus to many number of people. That's why RT-PCR test is the only gold standard right now. We don't have, but if you are able to do some kind of antigen and RNA test here itself, they can detect it from the day one itself. So still now we don't have any antigen-based test right now, and the only standard is your RT-PCR test. So this is now coming back to the therapy, what therapeutic options we have. So we have already talked about that initially during 21st March, intravenous IgGs were the only treatment options. After that, plasma therapy came in, some herbal drugs trials were also started in China. Then FDA approved the hydroxychloroquine in 21st of April around. Then FDA approved on 1st May remdesivir. And then June 22nd, dexamethasone was also approved. And still the vaccine is yet to come. And during this time, today also I was just going through the literature, and in the morning I really find out that some passive immunity, some antibody scientists have created in Germany and UK. They are able to create some antibodies which is basically highly effective and which can be used as a passive vaccination. You can just give those vaccines or the cells made up from that, okay, which can create those antibodies in the cells. So these are the potential therapeutic approaches which can be used against SARS or coronavirus too. So what are these? Are basically based upon our understanding of the coronavirus, and still we are learning. It's just we have been given only 8 or 9 months. So 8 or 9 months for doing the job for any scientist is not a really good amount of time. You all know that, but since we all are doing 24/7, everybody all around the world, all of the countries are doing their job very well, and still we have been able to get these kind of data. The strategies can be basically how antibodies the first strategy is basically we can use the spike protein, the protein which is being utilized by the virus to attach to the ACE2, which we can block. The second can be that we can inhibit these protease inhibitors which are helping this coronavirus to gain entry and the cleavage of these spike proteins so that they can be fused. That can be the second target of our strategies. And the third one we are able to generate some very robust virus-specific effector CD8 T cells, because these are only the T cells or the cytotoxic T cells which will secrete cytotoxic granules containing granzyme performing, and this will lead to the death of these cells. So what is the strategy of creating or inducing a robust CD8 T cell response? And this can only be done with very effective vaccines. And the fourth one is that how we can take care of the cytokine storm. So we can use some mechanical filtration. Though you're passing your blood through this mechanical filtration, and based upon the filter they're having, they can absorb all of the cytokines inflammatory from your blood, and again that blood is being transfused. So these can be used for patients who are very, very basically infected and having a cytokine storm in the body, and some kind of things like this can be used. Also, the strategies can be basically how we can develop certain effective antivirals. So these all are the different potential therapies, immunosuppressants, antiviral drugs, plasma therapy, intravenous injections of IgGs, vaccines that are still under development, corticosteroids, for example, dexamethasones have already been used, corticosteroids here have been used. So these all are different kinds of therapies. But till the time we don't have, till date, till now, till today, till this time, we don't have an effective therapy, a short therapy that, okay, you are having coronavirus infection just like any other infections, viral infection or bacterial infections, and you just take this drug and you will be short out within 7 days or 3 days, you will be out of this. So we don't have that kind of luxury till now. So till that time, what can be done? So these are various antiviral drugs and immunosuppressants which have been already in use in various countries according to the WHO or other countries. Remdesivir is there, which is an experimental antiviral compound. Lopinavir and Rotenavir is there, combination of HIV drugs, which have also found to be useful in inhibiting the replication of drugs. Interferon beta, because the IFN1 and 3 responses were very much weakened during your infected patients, and these are the immune messengers that basically help the virus to cripple up. So these are also been used for, you can assist the body by giving these interferons. Then comes the chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which are malarial medications which basically regulate the pH of your endosomes where the virus is replicating. Then we have a lot of immunosuppressants in the market, the corticosteroid, the dexamethasone, which I was talking about, which suppresses the inflammatory response, and anakinra, which is the IL-1 receptor antagonist, tocilizumab, which is IL-6 receptor antagonist, and which is already been used for other diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis. And thalidomide is being used to block the infiltration of the cell, the cytokine storm, and prevent the lung damage. And we also have certain other drugs, baricitinib and ruxolitinib, which are JAK inhibitors. So this is just a compilation of some of the prominent drugs. And people in India or somewhere else are also responding. The plasma therapy is also one of the effective therapies, but I've also mentioned that this is also having a lot of pros and cons. So in this, what happens is that the recovered patients, the plasma from the recovered patient is taken up and given to the patients. And these patients can be anyone, but the problem is here that the COVID survivor from whom we are taking the blood and giving to the infected patients is that basically these serum or the plasma can contain also other infectious agents for which we are unable to detect them. So there can be limitations, and the antibodies from here can also create a lot of other immune problems if the immune system has been activated against these antibodies. So there can be issues, but still people are using it because based upon their judgment, depending upon the patients, whether it can be useful or not. So that has to be addressed or assessed by the clinician itself. So what are the vaccine strategies for COVID-19 right now? So here are some vaccine strategies are there. So it can be either a live attenuated vaccine, it can be viral vector-based vaccine, it can be either a recombinant protein-based vaccine where the protein is being used, or a DNA and mRNA vaccine. And many companies around the world, there are right now 165 coronavirus vaccines which are under development. 21 are already in phase 1, 13 are in phase 2, 8 are in phase 3, and 2 are already approved for early or limited use. So these are how basically these phases are there. And phase 3 is basically the testing expanded to the 1,000 of people, and 8 vaccine candidates are there in the phase 3 trial. That's really a good news. And 2 already have been approved. For example, your Russian vaccine is there, and the next one is the Bharat vaccine, which is India's own vaccine for the COVID-19, which has been developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with other countries. So basically what happens, so till the time I'm talking about, we are not having an effective vaccine, what can be done? So we all live in India. So we are aware that we have a very traditional and very old system of traditional medicine called Ayurveda. And that's really, Ayurveda is basically 5,000 years old, and how people in that time were able to holistically live with their environment, and they were using lot amount of phytotherapeutic agents to combat various diseases. So can we employ these phytotherapy in combating the cytokine storm, at least in this COVID-19, or stopping the replication of these infectious agents in our own body? So the answer can be yes, it can. Basically, it can do that. So if you see here, COVID-19, once it is there in the body, it creates cytokine storm, and it can lead to multiple organ failure, brain, intestine, liver. If we can use some phytotherapeutic agents against these anti-inflammatory cytokines, then what can be done? These basically can be stopped. This cytokine storm can be stopped with the use of these agents. And these agents which we have basically compiled, we have taken 16, 14 from the literature available. And the time when we have communicated this paper, after that only ashwagandha started, the clinical trials on ashwagandha was started in ICMR and IIT Delhi, and it has shown really promising results. So these are the potential phytotherapeutic approaches which are basically right now can be used for SARS coronavirus 2. You can see here, either we can target the spike proteins. So these are the compounds which have the potential to target this spike protein mediated cell entry into the virus, and these all are basically your phytotherapeutic agents. You can see the Vitnania somnifera, which is basically the ashwagandha, and all of the other agents are also there. You can also see the second target can be the ACE2 host receptor. The ACE2 can be targeted. We can target this ACE2 receptor itself, either increase the expression of these ACE2 receptors or block this replication or the entry of these viruses. The third kind of compounds can be basically the serine proteases, the TMPRSS2, that can be inhibited with the use of this phytotherapeutic agent. The fourth can be basically targeting the main proteases, which are responsible for the replication of these RNAs or the protein synthesis and replication. And also the RNA-dependent RNA polymerase can also be the fifth target. And all these compounds basically have the potential, and this has been shown both in silico and other laboratories around the world, including our own, that these have the potential to basically block this virus replication, translation, and the assembly and release. So these kind of things can be basically utilized. So I thank you, all of you, for listening to my talk today. And I'm really grateful to all my mentors, my students, my collaborators, my host institutes and funding agency, and my mice, which have sacrificed their life. Basically, whatever the research we do, this is my small group, and 2-3 more students have already joined in. And the group is really small, it's very effective. And thank you again for listening to me. So I'm open for questions. If any questions are there, I will be happy to take those questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very nice presentation, and it was really very good in that a lot of information about the immunological aspects were shown. And now just there is a slight change in our schedule. I would like to say that the question hour for this talk will be held now. I would request Dr. Ishita Shaha and Dr. Shreyoshi Gupta to please put forward the questions for Dr. Rupesh Srivastava.
Thank you, Angonadi. First of all, thank you, Dr. Srivastava, for your very much informative and perspicuous speech. We have got lots of questions. Our first question coming from one of our participants. Can HCQ be a prophylactic, since it acts in the initial stage, as plasma therapy have lots of disadvantages?
Basically, people have used that. Hydroxychloroquine has already been used by certain doctors also as a prophylactic, basically what you mentioned. It has already been in use, but again, there is no short thing. So for some of the patients or some of the individuals, it can work, and others, it has not been shown to be very effective. But then also it can be taken, but it is very toxic also. The doses, if you are going to take it daily and daily, it can be toxic also. So you have to judge, you have to keep a balance. If you are going in a certain scenario, for example, the doctors who are going in the ICUs, who are basically going to be at greater risk of getting infected. And even at AIMS also, there had been that the doctors here also, the clinicians here also were taking hydroxychloroquine during those pandemic days when it was at its peak. But right now, again, due to this various reported toxicity, that has again taken a setback. So it depends. Basically, that is not a very short thing, but yeah, it has shown to be useful in some cases, but not all of them.
As phytotherapeutic approaches are introduced, is the herbal medicine is useful against COVID-19?
What pardon? What herbal?
Herbal means the phytotherapeutic approaches. The herbal.
They are basically effective. We all know that lot of, for example, the ashwagandha, if you take, it is very anti-inflammatory. It is having a potent anti-inflammatory effect. Apart from that, we also have other drugs also from the herbs which have been taken by which are already there mentioned in our Ayurvedic system of practices. Even China, before we started, China has already started a lot of herbal remedies, the clinical trials of these herbal Chinese traditional medicines long before the FDA approved them. And now recently, in the last a week or so, WHO have also come up that we should start clinical trials with these herbal drugs. And ASMR has also done a study, I think a month or so back. They have started a study with ashwagandha along with IIT Delhi was doing that, and they have shown various significantly improvement in the prophylaxis of the patients and also in utero and in vivo. Both studies were very much useful. So till the time, I'm not saying that this can be the only resort for sorting out these issues, but till the time we are having a sure shot synthetic medicine coming up, we can resort to these traditional medicines which have very potential, which have the potential. This can be very least toxic also, and they can be very useful also. They have, I strongly believe that Ayurvedic system of medicine is very much potent, but the only thing is that we have to revalidate them scientifically again and again so that we can come up with a strategy where least amount of the doses can be given very specifically so that maximum benefit can be harnessed from these traditional medicines.
Okay, thank you. Our next question coming from one of our participants. The question is, what is the possibility of reoccurrence of COVID-19 and what the lifespan of antibodies that generates due to attack of coronavirus? I think you discussed, Dr. Srivastava already discussed the second question.
Then I will just mention one more thing. So very few studies have come up till now. So till I think 3 or 4 months is the time which you can be basically immune. But the problem is immune against that particular strain of coronavirus 2. Right now we have thousands of different mutated strains of coronavirus 2 because this is a RNA virus. So every time it is infecting some individual, it is coming back with a mutation. And if on basically if you do that randomly or a permutation and combination, it can be possible that some of the trains, because they are also having the same evolutionary benefit what we are having. If the host and pathogen, basically there's the continuous fight is going on. You all know that. So one time the host wins, the next time the pathogen wins. So this virus is also undergoing a lot of mutations. It can be both pathogenic and it can also be non-pathogenic also. So if you are infected from a particular strain of virus, you are having the antibodies for that particular strain of virus only. But if you are again infected the other day only, other week only, if you're infected with the other different strain, maybe you can have some protection or maybe no protection at all. So it's quite risky. If already infected, that doesn't mean that you have license to roam around without a mask. Okay, so this should not be the case, and you should take all precautions. And even if you're reinfected, some of the patients who are reinfected are having more severe form of disease also. This has also been reported. So basically, so there are two population of individuals who are least affected. Basically, the small children are very least affected, but the elder population, more than 60 plus, are most affected. Why? Why this is happening is that because your immune system, when you're young, you're having a lot. So you know that your thymus is basically regressing, continuously regressing. The size and the quality and the quantity of the T cells being produced from that thymus is decreasing with age. And after 60 years, it is no more there also. That all the thymus is gone till the time you age 60 plus. So what happens is that you only have that. For example, you are having only 1,000 naive T cells when you were born. And with the time, you're having a lot many of infections. And till the time you reach 60, hardly maybe 10 or 50 naive T cells are there. And these naive T cells are having their T cell receptor, the B receptors are also there on the B cells. So what happens? Do you really think that a novel virus is come and you are going to combat it with just a handful of repertoires of TCRs and BCRs? No, not at all. But the children, on the other hand, are having 1,000 repertoires. So they are having higher probability of dealing with any kind of these diseases. Okay, so this is what happens. That's why your younger population, the younger children are not even having any symptomatic features, even though they are carrying a lot amount of viral load. But for your senior citizens, it can be very much lethal because they don't have that kind of antibodies or the immune cells to take care of that. They don't have the memory cells. So this is what the situation is. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastava. Our next question is, do humans pass on any immunity they have developed allowing others to better fight off COVID?
Immunity to whom?
You need to
How can they transfer it? They can only transfer it.
Other humans or other animals, not animals. It actually other humans should be.
So basically, if you can transfer only when you're taking out your plasma and giving it to some other patients. That kind of passive immunity can be developed. Okay. So this can be only this is what the plasma therapy is there, what we are giving right now. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Srivastav. Now I hand over this question hour sessions to continue to Dr. Shreyashi Gupta. Over to you, Shreyashi.
Thank you, Ipshita Di. Thank you, Dr. Rupesh Srivastava. Sir, it was a very elaborative, nice presentation. We have several questions. We just chose some of them because of time deficiency. So, being an immunologist, what is your point of view on the herd immunity, and can this herd immunity be a hope to us, or we just have to wait for vaccination again for a long time? I don't know how much time it will take. What is your point of view?
So herd immunity is also a very important concept regarding combating the pandemics. In the past, it has shown to be very much of help for some of the pandemics. But for if you see this virus is really different. This is very much pathogenic. It is very much evolving. So getting a herd immunity can be one of the things to combat this. But the cost of getting the herd immunity will be very high. So for example, 60-70% of the population need to be infected. If you are infecting 60 to 70% of the population, and if you are 7 billion people around the world, and if you're infecting even 50%, then that means 3 or maybe 4 billion people need to be infected. And if you are seeing the mortality around 3%, then more than, I think, if you are 3 billion or there are 4 billion, then 4 to 12 crores of people will be dead. So you see, the cost of this herd immunity is going to be very high. So we cannot take that risk. Maybe that can be possible in small patches of the countries, not in India. But in India also, I have seen one trend during the last 2-3 months. What I've seen that once the virus has reached all the villages, you have seen that lot when the migrants were moving around and they were going back from the cities, Delhi, Bombay, going back to the native towns, and that was the time when the pandemic was spreading to even to the villages also, small patches also. So there have been unreported deaths. So daily, these villages, after these migrants, they came back, maybe from them or maybe due to other sources also. When the infection was carried, for example, the small villages are having only 400 people or 800 people are there, small villages there. So in that, there were almost 10 to 20 deaths per day for around 15 to 20 days. So that 800 people, if you see, that till 15 days it carried on. But after that, the graph decreased, the death was decreased. That means the whole 800 people had reached the herd immunity. Okay, so 50% of the people were infected, and after that, the rest were being saved. Okay, so it can work in small patches, small population, but it's not possible right now for the country such big as India itself. We are having a lot diverse population, and everybody is having their own set of genes, and whether they can be susceptible also, they can be safe also. So it can be one of the strategies, but we cannot employ this strategy. It can be possible for small patches, for a city, for a small patch of town. And if you see that even this this coronavirus has reached to Andaman also, the tribes which have been, so there also 8 to 9 people were infected. Those Andaman tribes were also been infected. There have been reports from there also. So it is really very pathogenic.
Thank you, sir. Actually, you were talking about the genes. The next question is actually on the basis of this. We know that there are some kind of epigenetic role also in COVID-19, and immunity is going around in newspapers and all that. So do you think that the countries which are facing much more malarial load, they are luckily having a good statistics in case of COVID-19 patients? What is your take on that?
Yes. Basically, this is a very good question because we have already having a paper with one of my colleagues in my department who is working on malaria. So we already have in PLOS 1. It's already there in PLOS 1 that how we have done a very survey of all the countries in Africa where the reported cases are very low. So we have done how in the places where in Africa and other Asian countries where the load of this malaria was high, the infectivity is very low. So somehow these these population who have been already infected with malaria are having some kind of cross reactivity. Okay, cross reactivity these for these viruses, and they are somehow safe. The mortality is very low, the infectivity is also very low. So till now we don't know exactly what is the reason, but yes, epigenetics and maybe the genes which are, for example, if you see the sickle cell anemia is also an evolutionary adaptation towards your malarial these parasites. So these parasites are not able to live in your sickle cell, your RBCs. Okay, so this is a kind of heterogeneous kind of thing is there. So similar kind of thing, maybe they are also adopted. Even now also Africa being one of the poorest continents in the world is not reporting much higher number. It's not only that they are testing low, but it is also that maybe the immune system or the immunity in those individuals, whatever the reason maybe, is high against this particular kind of virus, and maybe the malaria or other pathogenic diseases which are already there. For example, Ebola is also there. So a lot of diseases are there which are basically making them more immune. They are having they can have lot many of antibodies, and some of the antibodies are cross reacting with the SARS coronavirus also. So that can also be the case, and lot many of people, lot groups are already working on this, and maybe in the coming months we will be able to answer it more specifically.
Thank you, sir. Now, I just want to give my one suggestion that can you please give some suggestion to boost our immunity? Like everything nowadays is selling immunity, boosting immunity, like vitamin C and all that. So please suggest something. What should we do now? And that's all.
So being an immunologist, I will never say to take any supplement to boost your immunity. Okay, so boosting immunity means basically you're also going to activate your immune system unnecessarily. Activating your immune system unnecessarily can also lead to a lot amount of cytokines secreted in the body, that can again lead to cytokine storm. Maybe at a very small level, we cannot talk it about as a cytokine storm. So it's better we leave our immune system as it is, and being healthy is one of the best strategies to be there. So being healthy means you exercise well and have good sleeping habits. Don't drink alcohol or smoking, and all these things have been shown that people who are taking alcohol, smoking, are more prone to SARS coronavirus because your lung epithelium is damaged because of these tobacco and all those, the smokes are there. So your the natural immunity of your the lungs has been compromised. Okay, so that can be one of the reasons. But boosting immunity with some supplements, I would say really no. It's better to take vitamin D, vitamin C has been shown to be very effective. The people who are having high recently I was there in one of the virtual conferences in American Society for Bone and Mineral Research. There they have shown how the vitamin D levels, if you're having high vitamin D levels in your body, then the rate of infectivity can be low. Or the patients who have been admitted to the ICUs with high vitamin D in their blood were able to recover fast with respect to a person who don't have any vitamin D or very less amount of vitamin D or C in the body. But that doesn't mean that you pop up a lot of vitamin D tablets. The best source is that go out, take some sunlight, and keep it very natural. Vitamin D will already be synthesized. But if you really have low vitamin D, you can take some vitamin supplement just for a month, weekly 4 capsules, and that's it. Vitamin C needs not to be taken very often because it is also very toxic. So the only thing is that eat healthy so that all of your dietary requirements are met from your food itself, and maintaining healthy eating habits and sleeping pattern are also very important, because once you sleep, your immune system is reactivated, it is calibrated, so it can take care of your, because stress is not good because it compromises your immune system. So instead of taking some supplements, it's better to really go to the gymnasium, which are basically now closed, so you can go to the parks, walk, jog, whatever you do, keep yourself healthy. That's the best strategy to combat for any kind of infection, not only coronavirus. Being healthy is the only thing you can do.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Angonadi. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for this excellent interaction. Sir, actually, before going to our next speaker, I myself have a question from my side to you, that we see that lot of vaccines are being made, and we have also seen that coronavirus actually is a very actively gene mutating virus, and it actually displays its pleiotropy or it changes its epitope very fast. So normally, apart from DNA and RNA targeting vaccines, normally we target the surface epitopes. Okay, so in normal cases, what I have been seen, like in case of the rotaviral vaccines, for my kid, like after I got him immunized, I had completed the dose, he had got infected with that same virus. So normally these viral vaccines don't act. Okay, so what is your take on that? Is it that vaccines will be potential? What is your take on
So,
that?
yeah. So basically, I understand your point. So anything, whatever things are there in the, so everything has exceptions. So there cannot be one remedy for every individual. So we all are genetically, our makeup is quite different. So we all are different, our composition different. Some kind of vaccines, they are more affecting a particular region, but depending upon the ethnicity and the kind of genes that particular population is having. Maybe that the vaccine which you are talking about, maybe the cold storage must not have been taken care of. Maybe that could one of the, there are a lot of things that has to be basically dissected out one by one. Whether the cold storage of those vaccines was fine, or maybe there have been, or maybe your son got infected from other strain of rotavirus, not from the one which you got immunized with. So there are various take-home messages from this. So it's very hard to basically discern. Yes, but yes, vaccines are very effective, what I will say, and we all should get vaccinated. And particularly for these kind of highly infectious agents, we should always get infected, because I teach immunology to my MD students and MSc students here. So what I have seen is that, so I was preparing one of the slides for vaccination, I think a year ago. So I really got a very interesting data from, so you must have heard in the Europe that say there have been movements of some church groups that you should not be vaccinated. This is
Yeah.
quite unethical, against their religion. So, but what they have done is that they have really stopped undergoing vaccination. But that has taken toll on their health. So once they have started reducing the vaccination, the diseases which have been totally wiped out from those regions have started popping up again. So this is the diseases which, for example, this chicken pox and this polio, which we have eradicated with such huge effort all around the world. If we are not vaccinating this to our future generations, maybe these vaccines, these diseases can again come up. And now we are fighting with all these new diseases. We don't have time to again to go back and vaccinate for all those things. So basically we have to take care of each and everything, and vaccinations do really do a very good job in providing us active immunity against these pathogens, and we all should be vaccinated. Yes, but yes, the vaccine should be thoroughly researched for their safety concerns. And that's why the phase 3 and phase 4 clinical trials are very important. And that's what Russia has done, is that they haven't done that safety trials for their own vaccines. So that's the thing which should not be done. If you are creating, today only I was reading that China has immunized a lot of their population. Deliberately they have vaccinated, and those vaccines has not gone through all their safety procedures. So that's not a good thing. If you're doing that, and if those vaccines are not going to give you protective immunity, then people will blame the scientists that vaccines are not good. So this is not the case. If you're not following the proper protocol, that's why creating a vaccine in the span of just 6 months or 1 year is not a strategy. It has to take. That's why even today, after HIV, more than 30 years have passed, we don't have a vaccine. Why we don't have a vaccine? Because it's an RNA virus. Plus also there are a lot of safety concern issues are there. We don't have vaccines against hepatitis C also till now, very effective vaccine. So there are a lot many diseases for which we don't have a 100% sure vaccines. So it's a very hard, very time-taking process, and it will take it time. So if you want a very robust vaccine, it has to go through all your safety protocols and procedures, say phase 3, phase 4, and then only it should be vaccinated to the individuals. It should not be in hurry by all the government and political organizations to just get a vote back. Otherwise, it will fire back.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for this nice interactive forum. So now we would like to go forward with our technical session. So I take the pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Animesh Banerjee, who has completed his graduation from the University of Burdwan and post-graduation from the Department of Zoology of Banaras Hindu University. Dr. Banerjee has obtained his doctoral degree in cytogenetics under the guidance of Professor Jagat Kumar Roy on studies on the role of Dicer1 and bantam microRNA in brain development in Drosophila. His area of research interests are stem cell biology, cancer biology, neurobiology, developmental biology. Dr. Animesh Banerjee has several publications in different journals of international repute. He has achieved different accolades and has a wide expertise in different spheres. He has also presented his work in different international conferences and workshops. Dr. Animesh Banerjee is presently working as a postdoctoral research fellow at the Institute of Molecular and Cell Biology, IMCB, A-Star Research Institute of Singapore. His present work involves studies on the neuronal circuit and molecular mechanism underlying tremor in Drosophila and the role of microRNAs in movement disorders. Today, Dr. Banerjee will share his views on adjusting to the new normal. Flexibility is the key, which is a very pertinent question of present times. So please may I have the pride privilege to hand over this forum to Dr. Banerjee.
Hi, thanks for this kind introduction. Let me first try to share my screen. Yeah, I hope it's visible. Is the presentation is visible?
Yes, it's visible. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so thanks for this nice introduction. First, I would like to thank the professors in the organizing committee and of course the principal of TDB College for inviting me. I think I'm the youngest of all the speakers and try to share my thoughts specifically with the perspective from a student's point of view, like how to adjust with this new normal and how we can cope up with this evolving situation. So I know like in the last few months, we have seen a lot of traumatized condition because we never faced this condition, I think for a generation or so. So from everybody's facing a lot of difficulties, definitely. And students per se are the worst hit because they are the one who are staying in the home without schools and coaching classes. So I will try to take up some of the problems and their solutions. So I know the problem may not be fit you because in India there is a big difference of socio-economic conditions. But yes, having said that, I will try to take up some problems and it may help you, it may not. But I think you can share this problem and its solution to your friends and family members who are in the education system and you can help them. So with that, I will start my presentation. So I'll be going through basically 4 topics. And first I will try to understand, we will try to understand why we are in this condition, like in this new normal. Secondly, there will be like a student's perspective, that is what problems they are facing now. Thirdly, I'll be trying to solve some of the problems. They are the glimpse of the solutions, definitely. They may not be the entire solution, but yes, I will try to discuss those. And at the end, I think we are all a bit tensed about our career. So I will highlight some of the points that might help you to choose your career or give you options to take up some of the careers in the future. And I will try to summarize my points as a take-home message. So I'll be a bit bilingual so that I can be better connected with the students per se. So I hope that will be good for them. So taking to my first topic, the new normal, when and why. So we have just saw that this slide from Dr. Rupesh, correct? Like pandemic ta kokhon elo ebong koto tatare chhoriye porlo. So it's on 31st December the first case was known, and it was regarded as a pneumonia in the WHO China office. And if we see by 10th of January, WHO issues the first guidance as a novel coronavirus. 13th January 2020, China confirmed there is a case which is outside of the China mainland, that's the mainland of China. 11th February, yes, it was named as a COVID-19, and by 7th March 2020, that very particular virus reached 100 countries. So just in a span of 3 months, probably December 31st, the case was first reported. Many says, or the many news agencies says that yes, the case was first reported in November, but that is a debatable issue. But even if we take it, the first case as a December, so within a span of 3 months, it reached 100 countries. And World Health Organization on 12th of March declared this particular as a pandemic. So this is a new condition for all of us living in this earth, because we have never experienced the government, the administrative persons, the students, every sphere of life, every person is getting affected, and everybody have a new situation to deal with. So having said that, there is a particular stuff like how we'll deal with this coronavirus, correct? So I will be taking to two things. First, the small scale, মানে যখন আমরা ভাবছি গোটা পপুলেশনটাকে যদি আমরা ফাইট করতে চাই যে কোভিড-19 এর সাথে গোটা পপুলেশনটা কিভাবে ফাইট করবে, so it was a 3 T's: testing, isolate and treat, correct? So it was declared around 7th of April by WHO যে আমরা এইভাবে এর সাথে ফাইট করতে পারবো যাতে এটাকে আমি কন্টেইন করতে পারি। And we have lot of ongoings after that, like lockdown, containment zone, everything. But if we see the speech of our Honorable Prime Minister just a few days ago, again we are on the same boat, that is testing, tracing and treatment. মানে আমরা কিন্তু খুব বেশি দূর এগোইনি এখনো পর্যন্ত। যদি আমরা ভাবি we are in the same boat, আর আমাদের কাছে একটাই শুধু শক্তিশালী বলতে পারি আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে টেস্টিং, ট্রেসিং এন্ড ট্রিটমেন্ট, তাছাড়া কিছু করার নেই। এটা যদি আমরা ভাবি যে এন্টায়ার পপুলেশন, বাট হোয়াট ইফ উই টেক ইনটু ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল লেভেল? So yes, আমরা ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি এটাতে কন্ট্রিবিউট করতে পারি, যেটা অনেকবার ডিসকাস হয়েছে থ্রু আউট আওয়ার ওয়েবিনার। There are various measures. Yes, the first one, of course, wearing a mask. Second, to stay home, যদি দরকার না পড়ে বাইরে বাইরে যাওয়ার দরকার নেই। And thirdly, to maintain a distance. Of course, these issues are not very practical in a very populated country like India. And আমি ভাবতে পারি না যে একটা লোকাল ট্রেনে আমরা 2 মিটার ডিস্টেন্স মেনটেন করে আমরা ট্রাভেল করব, বা একটা বাজারে গিয়ে আমরা সেটা করব। But wherever possible, we can maintain a distance, correct? If there is a space, maintain it. If not, obviously wear a mask. কারণ মাস্ক যদি আমরা সবাই পরি, it create an artificial barrier between the two persons. So I would like to show this graph. It is a graph from one of the research study. যেখানে show করছে if we wear a mask, we can contain the disease. We are in this blue zone. But if we don't wear a mask, আমরা যদি মাস্ক ছাড়া যদি বেরিয়ে পড়ি, ইভেন যদি একজন মাস্ক পরছে আর যদি না পরছে, then we are in this zone where there is a chance of many infection which is spreading very rapidly. Of course, in a big population, it's very hard to contain the disease. It's not possible. সেই জন্য, and if we think যে government সব করবে, administrative লোকেরা সব করবে, it's not possible. It is we have to take care of ourselves, যাতে আমরা আমার family members, আমার relatives, আমার পাড়া প্রতিবেশী সবারই যাতে আমরা খেয়াল রাখতে পারি। So of course, whenever you move out, wear a mask. Even if you don't have a mask, have any cloth which is of 2 layer. Try it. May not be, it will be 100% safe, but একটা কথা আছে না, prevention is better than cure. Why not আমাদের যেটুকু আছে সেটুকু আমরা করি? And all this leads to where? It leads to the new normal. And এখনকার কোশ্চেন এটা হতে পারে যে নিউ নরমালটা দরকার কেন? কারেক্ট, আমরা লকডাউন করতে পারি, আমরা কন্টেইনমেন্ট জোন করতে পারি, বাট ইট হ্যাজ লট অফ অ্যাডভার্স এফেক্ট। কারণ one thing is clear by now, COVID-19 is here to stay. How long? We do not have a definitive answer. It can be 1 year, 2 year, 20 year, and it can stay as long as possible because it is mutating, like it was said by many speakers throughout. এটা মিউটেট করছে, এটা নিজেরা ইভলভ হচ্ছে, আমরাও যেমন ইভলভ করছি ওরা ইভলভ করছে না, আমরা নিজেরা একদম জানি না এটা কতদিন থাকবে। সেই জন্য একমাত্র এদের সাথে কিভাবে আমরা বাঁচতে পারি। Second, take of course the specific medicine, as mentioned by Dr. Rupesh just now, that there is no specific medicine. Yes, আমরা একটা cocktail use করছি, and some is getting beneficial from this, some are not. So it's again a cocktail which we are using, and it's not giving us 100% guarantee, correct? So if not medicine, the other take is of course the vaccination, but yet to be established. There are a lot of vaccines which are in trial, which is again mentioned by our speakers, but আমরা জানি এটা কতদিনে actually তে আসবে এবং তৈরি হবে। এবং যদি আমি ধরেও নিই যে yes, we have a vaccine which is very potent, can elicit a good immunity against this virus, but we do not know efficacy of the vaccine. Like আমরা যদি একটু দেখি USA তে প্রতি বছর flu হয় and they get a flu shot, and this is very much evolving, means তারা change করে থাকে, so every year they get a flu shot. So this virus is also getting mutated and evolved. So একটা ভ্যাকসিনে কি আমরা 10 বছর কাটিয়ে দেবো? না, প্রতি বছর আমাদের একটা করে ভ্যাকসিন দরকার, আর যদি দরকারও হয় প্রতি বছর ভ্যাকসিন, তাহলে আমাদের কি টেক সেটা এখন বন্ধু আজ ক্লিয়ার না। হ্যাভিং সেড দ্যাট, যদি আমরা একটা কন্ডিশন এরকম নিই, ওকে আমরা একটা ভ্যাকসিন তৈরি করে ফেলেছি, কালকেই তৈরি করে ফেলেছি, এন্ড ইটস ভেরি এফেক্টিভ। সেকেন্ড, যদি আমরা ভাবি ইটস ভেরি এফিশিয়েন্ট, মানে একবার ভ্যাকসিন নিলে আমাদের আসছে 5-10 বছর কোনো চিন্তা নেই। The main question will be its availability, because we are not talking about a population of thousands and lakhs. It is the entire world population, and just imagine যদি একটা entire population immunized with the number of vaccines we want, correct? Not only want but also its distribution system, correct? কিভাবে আমরা distribute করব, কাকে আগে দেবো কাকে দেবো না, it need a very good planned blueprint. Otherwise যদি আজকে আমাদের দিনে আমরা পেয়েও যাই ভ্যাকসিন, it will be very difficult to distribute it in a methodical way. So ultimately আমরা এখানে বুঝতে পারছি যে আমাদের কাছে যদি মেডিসিনস থাকে, আমাদের কাছে যদি ভ্যাকসিনও থাকে, at least আজ থেকে 3 বছরের মধ্যে আমাদের কাছে এসে পৌঁছাবে না, at least জনসাধারণের কাছে প্রত্যেকজনে কিন্তু ভ্যাকসিনেটেড হবে না। Keeping aside the herd immunity concept and the other concepts, so আমি একটা জেনারেল কথা বলছি, তো সেইখান থেকে আমাদেরকে বাঁচতে হলে এই ভাইরাসটার সাথে মোকাবিলা করে একসাথে বাঁচতে হবে। So this brings to me my next topic, that is the new normal, a student's T test. This is not of statistics. T stands here for tolerance. Of course, coronavirus জন্য প্রতিটা স্পিয়ারের প্রতিটা লোকের অসুবিধা হচ্ছে, let it be a doctor, let it be an army personnel, let it be an IT, let it be a pilot, let it be a researcher. Everybody is in the same soup. Everybody have their own individual problem. But today I'm going to discuss the problems probably facing by the students, correct? Because they are one of the key generation that is going to determine the future of any country. So what are the problems? Of course, first and foremost is there is no school, because the school are closed. No coaching and tuition classes, no outing, no outdoor games. These four are very big thing, because একটা বাচ্চার ক্ষেত্রে তারা বাইরে গিয়ে স্কুলে প্রচন্ড বন্ধু বান্ধবের সাথে মেশা, তাদের মনের ভাব আদান প্রদান করা, এগুলো খুব দরকার ফর আ গুড মেন্টাল হেলথ, কারেক্ট? And moreover, যখন আমরা এগুলো নেই, তখন আরো যেসব ক্লাসেস লাইক অ্যাক্টিভিটি ক্লাসেস লাইক সিঙ্গিং, ডান্সিং, ড্রয়িং, দে আর অলসো ক্লোজড। নো গ্যাদারিং উইথ ফ্রেন্ডস, নো আউটসাইড ডাইনিং, টি অর স্ন্যাকিং। মিনস আমি বলতে পারি যে আমাদের ক্ষেত্রে এক কাপ চায়ের ওপর অনেক কিছু ডিসকাস করি, ফ্রম পার্টি টু পলিটিক্স টু স্পোর্টস। আমরা ডিসকাস করি সচিন তেন্ডুলকর কেন রান করেনি থেকে কেন মেসি গোল করেনি, কারেক্ট? এভরিথিং ইজ ডিসকাসড ইন দেয়ার। So it not only nurture the brain of a student, but it gives information, যেমন ক্যারিয়ারের ক্ষেত্রে তুই কি করছিস, তুই কোন স্যারের কাছে যাচ্ছিস, ওই স্যার কি ভালো। তো এই যে ছোট ছোট ডিসকাশনস গুলো, সেগুলো কিন্তু আস্তে আস্তে কমে যাচ্ছে। অফকোর্স দেয়ার আর ফোনস, দেয়ার আর হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ, নো কোয়েশ্চেন অ্যাবাউট দ্যাট, বাট একটা মুখোমুখি ভাবে যেভাবে একটা গ্যাদারিং এ যে ডিসকাশনটা হয়, সেটা একটা হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে সেই এসেন্স বা সেই ডিসকাশনটা হয়তো দিতে পারে না। অ্যান্ড অফকোর্স হ্যাভিং সেড দ্যাট, ওয়ান মোর কি থিং যেটা আমরা ভুলে যাচ্ছি, সেটা হচ্ছে নো পার্সোনাল স্পেস। অফকোর্স একটা স্টুডেন্ট যখন বাইরে বেরোচ্ছে, তখন সে মা বাবার নজরদারি থেকে কিন্তু বেরিয়ে যাচ্ছে, সো দেয়ার ইজ নো প্যারেন্টিং, সো হি অর শি ক্যান লিভ নর্মালি লাইক এন্টিটি, ঠিক আছে? সে তার নিজের মনের ভাবটাকে প্রকাশ করতে পারে। যেমন একটা খুব সিম্পল এক্সাম্পল, যে আমি ঘর এলাম, সব থেকে ছোট রাস্তার না একটু ঘুরি, সো এটা কিন্তু ওর একটা ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল চয়েস, যেটা ফুলফিল করতে পারছে। বাট ইন হোম, যেখানে স্পেস লিমিটেড, সেখানে হয়তো বাবা ওয়ার্ক ফ্রম হোম, মা ওয়ার্ক ফ্রম হোম, ভাই আছে, বোন আছে, সেখানে একটা ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল আছে, তার কিন্তু নিজস্ব পার্সোনাল স্পেস যেটা সে কিন্তু পাচ্ছেন, কারেক্ট? তো সেটাও কিন্তু নট অনলি ফ্রম দ্য স্টুডেন্টস পার্সপেক্টিভ, I think many people are here who are the parents, so they should also think that we need to give us personal space so that the students can cope up. So all these things, মানে যেগুলো আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি স্টুডেন্টসদেরকে কোথায় নিয়ে যাচ্ছে, আলটিমেটলি দে আর স্ট্রেসড, দে আর অ্যাংশিয়াস, দে আর ফিলিং লোনলি অ্যান্ড দে আর ফিলিং লো। অ্যান্ড আমার মনে হয় অনেক স্টুডেন্টস শুনছে এটা, তো আমি শুধু ওদেরকে এটা বলতে চাই, ডোন্ট স্ট্রেসড আপ, বিকজ বিলিভ করো আই এম অলসো স্ট্রেসড। বিকজ আমাকে যখন বলা হয়েছিল ইন সিঙ্গাপুর দেয়ার উইল বি 2 months of lockdown, correct? It's not lockdown per se, because এখানে ম্যাক্সিমাম জিনিস হয়তো খোলা ছিল, but yes, there is a circuit breaker, so we are not allowed to go to lab for 2 months, and many crucial experiment which was about to be carried out was been abruptly have to be abandoned, correct? We cannot carry those experiments. So it was really heartbreaking for us, and we were stressed. And 2 মাস সত্যি কথা বলতে গেলে ঘরে বসে থাকাটা খুব স্ট্রেসফুল ছিল, যদিও হয়তো ইন্ডিয়ার মতো এখানে লকডাউন ছিল না, উই ক্যান গো টু পার্কস, উই ক্যান গো আউট, বাট স্টিল উই আর স্ট্রেস। সো আমি ডেফিনেটলি বুঝতে পারি যে তোমরা কতটা স্ট্রেসে আছো, বাট আই থিঙ্ক এভরি প্রবলেম শুড হ্যাভ আ সলিউশন। আমরা যদি প্রবলেম নিয়ে ভাবতে থাকি তাহলে আমাদের কোনোদিন কিছু হবে না, আমরা একটা স্টেপও এগোতে পারবো না। সো উই শুড থিঙ্ক অফ দ্য সলিউশনস। সো দ্য থিং ইজ হোয়াট সলিউশনস আর। যেমন আমি আগে বলেছিলাম, দ্য সলিউশনস ক্যান নট বি ভেরি ইজি। একটা জিনিস আমরা খুব ভালো বুঝতে পারি, বা এখনকার টিচার্সরা যেটা খুব ভালো বুঝতে পারেন, যে অ্যাটলিস্ট একটা জিনিস আমাদের অ্যাডভান্টেজেস, দ্য প্রবলেম ইজ কমন। মানে সবাই স্কুলের থেকে আসতে পারছে, স্কুলে আসতে পারছে না, কলেজে আসতে পারছে না, তাদের টিউশন ক্লাসে সেভাবে চলছে না, সেটা এই প্রবলেমটা কিন্তু কমন সবারই। বাট যদি আমরা সোশিও ইকোনমিক দিক থেকে, তাহলে প্রতিটা লোকের, প্রতিটা বাচ্চার ইনফ্যাক্ট ডিফারেন্ট ডিফারেন্ট প্রবলেম আছে। কারোর হয়তো ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল প্রবলেম আছে, কারোর হয়তো স্পেস কম, অনেক বেশি লোকজন বাড়িতে। সো এভরি ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল হ্যাভ দেয়ার ওন প্রবলেম, অ্যান্ড we have to put this thing through flexibility to be creative and to be adaptable with these changes, correct? So first, a cartoon যেটা খুব ভালোভাবে ডেসক্রাইব করছে যে আমরা কি কি করতে পারি। অফকোর্স মেক আ রুটিন, ডেফিনেটলি এর থেকে বড় কিছু হয় না, কারণ ঘরে থাকলে আগে একটা রুটিন ছিল, সকালবেলায় উঠবো, স্কুলে যাবো, আসবো, বা কলেজে যাবো, হোয়াট এভার, আসবো, টিউশন ক্লাস করবো, উইল ডু মাই হোমওয়ার্ক অ্যান্ড গো টু স্লিপ। মাঝখানে হয়তো কিছু ক্রিকেট খেলা আছে, বন্ধুদের সাথে গ্যাদারিং আছে। দিস ইজ এন্টায়ারলি গন। We are into a new normal. We have to make a new routine যাতে আমরা mentally healthy থাকি, correct? Second, pick up a new hobby. It can be anything. Hobby, correct? It can be gardening, it can be singing, it can be reading a book. And আমরা হয়তো ক্লাস 12 এ এতটা প্রেশারাইজ থাকি, আমরা হয়তো অনেক নোবেল যেটা আমরা পড়তে চাই সেটা পড়ে উঠতে পারি না। এখন টাইম আছে, পড়ো, correct? Get some exercises. This is again very important. Like just Dr. Rupesh mentioned that this not only help us to immune us, correct? It help to increase our immunity. But আমরা একটা জিনিস বুঝতে পারি না যে আজকে যখন আমরা কলেজ যাচ্ছি কিছুটা হাঁটছি, আমরা যেটা দোকানে যাচ্ছি কিছুটা হাঁটছি। সো ছোট ছোট এক্সারসাইজ কিন্তু আমাদের হতে থাকে ডেইলি বেসিসে। ইভেন যদি আমরা এক্সারসাইজ যদি পার্টিকুলারলি না করি, তাহলে একটা এক্সারসাইজ চলে, সেটা কিন্তু এখন বন্ধ, কারেক্ট? শোনো, টাইম পেলে নো প্রবলেম, একটু ফ্রি হ্যান্ড এক্সারসাইজ, একটু ছাদে ঘোরা, কোনো ব্যাপার না, কারেক্ট? ইট উইল হেল্প ইউ টু গেট মাচ মোর mentally stable and be healthy. And these 3 points are very important, like virtually connect with family and friends, share your thoughts with people, and limit triggering behaviors. মানে সবসময় দরকার নাই যে আমি টিভিতে বসে বসে করোনা ভাইরাসের কথা শুনি, নো নিড। তোমার যতটুকু ইনফরমেশন দরকার, তোমার যদি মনে হচ্ছে যে আমি স্ট্রেস নিতে পারছি না, you can get that information from your parents, from your neighborhood, correct? Secondly, talk to people, and I will suggest that যখন তুমি কথা বলবে, talk to someone who has the positive energy. If you talk to someone যে তোমাকে বললো আমার জিনিসটা আজকে পড়াটা হয়নি, আমি যে কি করবো খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না, if the other person also says that yes, I am in the same soup, আমিও বুঝতে পারছি না কি করবো, ক্লাসেস চলছে না, অফ জীবনটা না আমাদের কোন দিকে যাচ্ছে খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না, too negative energy, correct, will make things much more spoiled. Talk to someone who has that positive energy, যে তোমাকে বলবে ওকে কোনো চিন্তা করিস না, এটা তো ছোট্ট একটা টাইম, কেটে যাবে, 1 মাস 2 মাসের ব্যাপার, দেখবি আমরা ঠিক এর থেকে বেরিয়ে আসবো। টক টু সামওয়ান যে তোমাকে পজিটিভ এনার্জি দেবে। এমনও হতে পারে তোমার আজকে বন্ধু যে তোমাকে পজিটিভ এনার্জি দিচ্ছে, পরের দিন তার নেগেটিভ এনার্জি, তুমি তাকে বলো যে নো প্রবলেম, আজকে আমরা এখানে রাখি, কালকে ডিসকাস করবো, আজকে হচ্ছে আমার দুজনেরই মনটা ভালো নেই। সো টক অলওয়েজ পজিটিভলি ইন দিস ইভলভিং সিচুয়েশন। So I'll be taking in a different perspective into different 6 points to tackle this problem. Okay. So for me, the first problem we should be tackling is the infodemic, correct? Because we are into a lot of social websites like Facebook, WhatsApp, WeChat, lot of, and there is a flood of information, but we do not know which are accurate and which are inaccurate. Just giving an example for this, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there is a picture with a quote next to it. কে বলেছে? অ্যালবার্ট আইনস্টাইন। আমরা সঙ্গে সঙ্গে ফরওয়ার্ড করে দিলাম, দেখেছিস তো অ্যালবার্ট আইনস্টাইন বলেছে, ইন্টারনেটে যা পড়ে বিশ্বাস করবি না। ওয়েট, একবার ভেবে দেখো, অ্যালবার্ট আইনস্টাইনের সামনে সময় কি ইন্টারনেট ছিল? ছিল না। সেরকমই হয়তো আমরা কালকে জানতে পারলাম গভর্নমেন্ট বলেছে 2 দিন পর থেকে ফুল লকডাউন। ওয়েট, চেক ইট, কোন নিউজে দেখেছো? কালকে হয়তো তোমার কাছে একটা খবর এলো দেয়ার উইল বি নো এক্সামিনেশন। ওয়েট, টক টু দ্য প্রিন্সিপাল, সত্যি কি সেটা? So always check an information before forwarding, because you do not know যে তুমি হয়তো একটা ছোট্ট ইনফরমেশন হয়তো তুমি পাস করে দিলে যে yes, I want to be the first one to pass on the information, but it can take a big toll. কেউ হয়তো প্যানিক অ্যাটাক করতে যেতে পারে যারা হয়তো মেন্টালি অতটা স্টেবল না। So we should take care not only our knowledge, our concern, but we should take care of the people to whom we are actually forwarding the text or the news. Second, of course, set a routine that just I have mentioned, and it should be smart. রুটিনটা অফকোর্স এমন হতে হবে যে তার ছোট 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 গোল থাকে, ইট শুড বি স্মার্ট গোলস, কারেক্ট, অ্যান্ড স্মার্ট বিকজ ইট শুড বি স্পেসিফিক। মানে আমি এমন গোল সেট করবো না যেটা আমার কাছে স্পেসিফিক না। মানে আমি আজকে একটা গান গাইবো বলে একটা ঠিক করলাম যে আমি ক্লাস 12 এর পর প্রেশারের চোটে গান গাইতে পারিনি, আই উইল সেট আ গোল যে বা আমি WBCS পরীক্ষা দেবো, সেজন্য আমি এর মধ্যে WBCS পরীক্ষার জন্য তৈরি করবো, বাট কিপ ইট মেজারেবল। মেজারেবল কেন? আমি যদি ভাবি যে আমি WBCS পরীক্ষার জন্য আমি তৈরি হব, বাট আমি পুরো সিলেবাসটা কমপ্লিটলি করে ফেলবো, হবে না। কারণ উই আর ইন এ ডিফারেন্ট সিচুয়েশন। কারণ আজকে যেটা হয়তো পসিবল সেটা কালকে নাও হতে পারে। ফর এক্সাম্পল, আজকে আমি ভাবলাম যে ওকে উই আর হ্যাপি টু গো আউট, কালকে কিন্তু আমার জায়গাটা হয়ে গেল কন্টেনমেন্ট জোন। সো উই শুড টেক আওয়ার গোল উইচ ইজ মেজারেবল অ্যান্ড অ্যাচিভেবল। অ্যাচিভেবল কারণ ঠিক আছে, WBCS অফিসারের জন্য আমি যদি তৈরি হই, এটা আমি যদি অ্যাচিভ করতে চাই, সো হোয়াট আর দ্য থিংস উই নিড? ডু উই হ্যাভ those things at that particular point? আজকে কি আমার কাছে ওই জিনিসটা আছে? মানে সিলেবাসটা আছে কি, নোটসটা আছে কি, ম্যাটেরিয়ালস আছে কি? টেক অন দিস অ্যান্ড টেক রিয়েলিস্টিক গোলস। বিকজ আজকে যদি আমাকে বলা হয় যে আমি না ভাবছি গান করবো অ্যান্ড আই উইল বি অরিজিৎ সিং, নো, আমার কাছে গানের গলা নেই। সেই জন্য টেক রিয়েলিস্টিক থিং, যে তুমি কি ভালোবাসো। ইট শুড বি লাইক, আমি যদি ভাবি যে ইয়েস আই ওয়ান্ট টু বি আ ব্যাংকার, তো আমি ব্যাংক নিয়ে আমি পড়াশোনা করলাম। নো, আই ওয়ান্ট টু বি অ্যান অফিসিয়াল গভর্নমেন্ট সার্ভিস, তাহলে আমি WBCS নিয়ে পড়লাম। So have your goal which is real, not like যে আমি যা খুশি একটা করলাম। And of course it should be timely. Let's keep the goals short, যেটা একটা ছোট্ট টাইম পয়েন্টে আমরা কভার করতে পারি। It not be that আমি পুরো সিলেবাসটা কিন্তু 2 মাসের মধ্যে কভার করে ফেলবো। If you think that you are taking a pressure on you which is not going to help, so at the end it is like happiness is enjoying little things in life. Don't keep the things very broad, keep the things very little. সো আমি যদি পুরো জিনিসটা সামারাইজ করতে চাই, সো ইন শর্ট, প্ল্যান ABC ইনস্টেড অফ A to Z। মানে আমি ছোট্ট একটা প্ল্যান করলাম ABC, যদি দেখছি ইয়েস আমি C পর্যন্ত পৌঁছাতে পেরেছি, দেন আই উইল প্ল্যান D, E and F। ইফ নট, ওকে, ওয়েট ফর B and C। জাস্ট আমি যেমন বললাম, তুমি হয়তো ভাবলে যে ইয়েস আই উইল গো ফর দিস কম্পিটিটিভ এক্সামিনেশন, আমার বন্ধুর কাছে নোটসটা আমি কাল নিয়ে নেবো, সো দিস ইজ মাই প্ল্যান, বাই 2 সপ্তাহে এই নোটসগুলো আমার ফিনিশ। তুমি ঘর থেকে বেরোতে গেলে তোমাকে একটা পুলিশ অফিসার বললো ইউ আর ইন দ্য কন্টেনমেন্ট জোন, ইউ আর নট অ্যালাউড টু মুভ আউট, দেন সো ওয়ান থিং ইউ গেট ডিপ্রেসড, আমার তো প্ল্যান কাজ করলো না, আমি 2 সপ্তাহে এটা শেষ করতে পারলাম না। অর ইউ থিঙ্ক ওকে নো প্রবলেম, আমি যদি এটা না করতে পারি, নেক্সট ডু দ্য ম্যাথস পার্ট, সেরকম। সো প্ল্যান ফর ABC, if that is completed, go for A to Z, correct? Third is flexibility, that is believe in yourself. So stop making excuses. I know that not only I, means we all know that there are a lot of problems, like আমি 2-3টে প্রবলেম হয়তো আমি ডিসকাস করছি, there are many more, so need space to read। কারণ এখন আমি ঘরে বন্দি অনলাইন ক্লাস করছি, আমার ভাই এখানে চিল্লাচ্ছে, আমার মা ওখানে রান্না করছে, আমার বাবা এখানে ওয়ার্ক ফ্রম হোম করছে, chaotic situation, সো আমার কাছে স্পেস নেই পড়ার জন্য। নো, স্ট্যাগার ইওর টাইমিং। টাইমিং মানে হচ্ছে তুমি যদি ক্লাসেসটা তুমি যদি ডাউনলোড করতে পারো, সেটাকে তুমি স্ট্যাগার করো। বা তুমি হয়তো আগের দিন তুমি যদি জানো যে আচ্ছা আমার কালকে 9টা থেকে ক্লাস আছে, ঘরে একটা ল্যাপটপ, কারেক্ট? সো ইউ হ্যাভ টু ডিসকাস উইথ ইউর ব্রাদার অ্যান্ড সিস্টার অ্যাজ ওয়েল অ্যাজ ইউর প্যারেন্টস ইফ দে আর ওয়ার্কিং ফ্রম হোম, যে তোমার কটা থেকে মিটিং, তোর কটা থেকে ক্লাস, অ্যান্ড schedule করো যে what timing you are able to communicate with the others. Secondly, less internet data. Of course, connectivity is an issue, but less internet data is an issue, but we can mitigate that. We can zip the files, we can transfer it through the Bluetooth, correct? So Bluetooth is a very good thing, কারণ এর জন্য আমাদের ফোনগুলোকে 1 মিটারের মধ্যে আনতে হবে। You can keep them the phones 2 meter apart and you can transfer those things, correct? সেজন্য আমি জিপ করলাম, 2টো বন্ধু মিলে বললাম ঠিক আছে তুই চ্যাপ্টার 1টা ডাউনলোড কর, তুই সায়েন্সের চ্যাপ্টার 2টা ডাউনলোড কর, আমরা তারপরে ব্লুটুথে ট্রান্সফার করব। So you save your data. And Zoom classes are not enough. Yes and no, I will be discussing this thing in the next slide. So what changes we can take? Of course, first of all, parents and neighbors. তোমরা কখনো ভেবেছো যে আজকে হয়তো আমি একটা ঠিক করে ক্লাস করতে পারছি না ইন ম্যাথস, সায়েন্স আর ইংলিশ, কারেক্ট? কখনো ভেবে দেখেছো যে বাবা আমাকে হেল্প করতে পারে এই লেসনটা সলভ করতে, মা হয়তো আমাকে হেল্প করতে পারে ইংলিশটা পড়তে? মেক দেম ইউর টিচার্স। তারাও পড়াশোনা করে এসেছে, যদি তারা পড়াশোনা করে থাকে হেল্প দেম। হতে পারে যে কারোর বাবা মা হয়তো অত পড়াশোনা করেনি, ঠিক আছে? ইন দ্যাট কেস হ্যাভ ইউ এভার থট অফ যে আমার পাশের বাড়িতে হয়তো কোনো একজন দাদা আছে যে হয়তো জুওলজিতে মাস্টার্স করছে, আই এম ইন ব্যাচেলার্স, একবার কি দাদাকে জিজ্ঞেস করো তোমার কাছে সময় আছে কিনা, বিকজ হি ইজ অলসো স্টাক, আর ও হয়তো খুব খুশি হবে ওয়াও আমি একজনের সাথে কথা বলতে পারছি, তাই না? So no, these are chances you have to take because this is an evolving situation and we have to help each other. Secondly, as I have mentioned, download separately and exchange online study materials. Different ভাবে তোমরা স্টাডি ম্যাটেরিয়ালগুলোকে ডাউনলোড করে একে অপরের সাথে এক্সচেঞ্জ করতে পারো। And since we are highly stressed of every individual, do things you wished but have limited time. ক্লাস 10 এর পরে বোধহয় আমাদের জীবনযাত্রাটা একটু বদলে যায়, কারণ খুব প্রেশার। ক্লাস 12 এর প্রেশার, ব্যাচেলার্স এর প্রেশার, এন্ড প্রেশারটা এটা যে কি করবো জীবনে, কারেক্ট, পড়াশোনা হচ্ছে কিনা, বাবা মা বলবে যে তোদের পেছনে এত এত পয়সা আমরা খরচা করছি, তোর কি হবে। তো দিস আর লট অফ প্রেশার। সেই জন্য হয়তো আমরা অনেক ছোট ছোট জিনিস হয়তো আমরা করে উঠতে পারিনি। কেউ হয়তো কুকিং ভালোবাসে, কেউ হয়তো পেন্টিং ভালোবাসে, কেউ সিঙ্গিং ভালোবাসে। টেক টাইম, এখন তোমাদের কাছে সময় আছে, সেগুলো করবে। সেজন্য ডু দোজ থিংস, এন্ড I am sure that when you will do those things, you will feel an inner happiness, correct? And that is very much needed because it will make you defocus from this pandemic situation. Fourthly, of course, the online classes. So the best thing is anytime, anywhere, believe me. So in the last 6 months, I myself is taking some online classes. যেটা যদি প্যান্ডেমিক না হতো আমি করতে পারতাম না, কারণ আমার কাছে ক্লাসে গিয়ে ক্লাস করা ইম্পসিবল। And I'm taking these classes on train. So from my home to my office, it takes 20 minutes in metro. And I listen to the classes in the train itself. I take screenshot and I jotted those points in screenshot. And whenever on Saturday and Sunday I take time, I fulfill my assignments. Complete. Having said that, online classes are very beneficial, correct? But it has major problem in a classroom setup because less interpersonal connections, one-to-one support are missing, and difficulties for students who are less focused. কারণ কি, আমরা যখন একটা ক্লাসরুম টিচিং এ থাকি, টিচার দেখতে পাই যে ওই স্টুডেন্টটা এই সময় মনোযোগটা কম দিচ্ছে, বা ওর হয়তো একটু বেশি অ্যাটেনশন দরকার, বা ও হয়তো এই সময় কথা বলছে, যেটা হয়তো আমরা জুমের সময় হয়তো পুরোটা দেখে উঠতে পারি না, কারেক্ট? সো দিস আর দ্য প্রবলেমস। কিন্তু এই প্রবলেমগুলোকে প্রথম কথা স্টুডেন্টদেরকে নিজেকে বুঝতে হবে যে ইয়েস, ইটস আওয়ার কেরিয়ার, we have to be very sincere while attending these classes. We have to take notes, we can take screenshots, and we have to find a solution. First, teachers বা স্টুডেন্ট ডিসকাস করতে পারে যে ইয়েস, ক্যান উই হ্যাভ আ ওয়ান টু ওয়ান সেশন, মানে একটা ক্লাস হয়ে গেল 1.5 ঘন্টা, হয়তো মানডেতে ক্যান উই হ্যাভ অন থার্সডে একটা 30 মিনিটসের ক্লাস, যেখানে শুধু আমরা নিজেদের প্রবলেমস গুলো বলবো, যেটা হয়তো আমি ওই ক্লাসে বুঝে উঠতে পারি। অথবা আমরা স্টুডেন্ট টিচার একটা এরকম ডিসকাস করতে পারি যে ক্লাসের মধ্যে টিচার একটা খুব ইজি একটা এমসিকিউ করলো, যাতে বুঝতে পারে whether the students are attentive or not. Or we can discuss, like students group বলে, স্যার আমি 1.5 ঘন্টা ধরে একটা ল্যাপটপে ক্লাস করছি বা একটা মোবাইলে ক্লাস করছি, পারছি না কনসেন্ট্রেট করতে। অ্যাডমিট দ্যাট, there is no problem in admitting, correct, your problem. অ্যাডমিট যে পাচ্ছি না, স্যার আমরা কি এমনি করতে পারি 30 মিনিট পড়লাম, 5 মিনিট আমরা একটা ব্রেক নিলাম টু অ্যাবজর্ব what we learned in the last 30 minutes, 5 মিনিট একবার মনে রেখে আবার আমরা কন্টিনিউ করলাম। That will give a rest to our brain and it will have a better interaction, correct? And one more suggestion to all of the guys, like I am expressing this personally, to take care of your eyes because they are sensitive. Because আমরা অনেক বেশি ফোনে চোখ রাখছি, অনেক বেশি ল্যাপটপে দেখছি, so our eyes get strained. বারবার তোমরা চোখে জল দিতে পারো, ছোট কোনো আই ড্রপ ইউজ করতে পারো, correct? So of course, so take care of your eyes. Fifth, show solidarity, correct? We are all in the same soup. আমরা তখন থেকে বলে যাচ্ছি যে ফোন 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 ইন্টারনেট, বাট আমাদের ভাবতে হবে ইন্ডিয়াতে there is a vast majority of people who do not have access to either smartphones or internet, but there are several groups who are there to help, like NGOs are there who are donating the smartphone. Jadavpur University has came up with plans for data connectivity and smartphone for students. Like Tamil Nadu, there are teachers who have bought 6 smartphones and distributed. So these are the groups, but we can also help. মানে আমার মনে হয় একটু যদি উচ্চ মধ্যবিত্ত পরিবারে দেখি, তাহলে আমার হয়তো যেহেতু আইফোন কিনেছি বা হয়তো নতুন ফোন কিনেছি, আমার হয়তো একটা পুরোনো ফোন হয়তো পড়ে আছে আনইউজড, সেটাকে আমি আমার কোনো বন্ধুর সাথে শেয়ার করতে পারি ফর নেক্সট 2 to 3 months. অর সাপোজ আমি জানি যে আমার পাশের বাড়িতে একটা নিডি ছেলে আছে যা হয়তো পড়াশোনায় খুব ভালো, অ্যান্ড আই হ্যাভ অ্যান ওয়াইফাই কানেকশন, ক্যান আই আস্ক হিম যে তুমি আমার বাড়িতে এসে ক্লাসটা করে নিতে পারো? আই হ্যাভ মাই ওয়াইফাই, অনেক ডেটা আছে যেটা আমি বলছি সারাদিনে ইউজ হয় না until unless you start downloading a movie, right? So the thing is, at the bottom line is that we are in the same problem and everybody is in the same problem and facing a lot of what I say atrocities of coronavirus. So the best thing is to help each other so that we can together we can come over this problem. Sixth is the scholarship. I know because financial problem is a big problem for us. And হয়তো এতদিন হয়তো অনেক স্টুডেন্টের হয়তো ফেলোশিপটা দরকার পড়েনি, স্কলারশিপ দরকার পড়েনি। I myself don't know like এইগুলো কার জন্য প্রযোজ্য, but I just found that there is a scheme for college and university students. go and see, correct, যে এটা তোমার জন্য প্রযোজ্য হচ্ছে কিনা। এতদিন হয়তো স্কলারশিপ দরকার পড়েনি বিকজ মাই ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশন ইজ স্ট্রং, কিন্তু আজকে হয়তো আমার প্যারেন্টসদের সেই ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশনটা আজকের ডেটে নেই। So no, there is no harm in applying. Talk to your teachers, they are able guidance, and see whether you can go and can apply for central as well as state government funds. হয়তো তোমার হয়তো দরকার লাগলো না, বাট তুমি হয়তো কাউকে চেনো, তাকে তুমি ফরওয়ার্ড করে দেখ ভাই তুই এটা করে দেখতে পারিস কি, তোর হয়তো হেল্প হবে। Having said that, these are some of the solutions which probably help you, I hope, and if it does, I'll be very happy. So next come is the era of digital world. Believe me, like আমরা হয়তো ডিজিটাল ওয়ার্ল্ড থেকে দূরে সরতে চেষ্টা করি, বাবার এটা জানি না, এতটা আমি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ জানি না, কিভাবে গুগল ক্লাসরুম করতে হবে জানি না, বাট বিলিভ মি আফটার 10 years if we are not digital, ইন্ডিয়া অ্যাজ দ্য হোল পিছিয়ে যাবে বাকি রেস্ট অফ দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ডের কাছে। আমি সিঙ্গাপুরে দেখি প্রতিটা বাচ্চার হাতে করে স্মার্টফোন, এখানে একটা যদি ভাবি যে জুম ক্লাস, there is no problem, even the government has distributed thousands of laptops to the students in a insurance basis, correct? So it has a very good network, but these are developed countries, but আমাদের ইন্ডিয়াতে এতটা হয়তো সম্ভব নয়। বাট যাদের কাছে ইন্টারনেট অ্যাক্সেস আছে তারা ক্যান গো ফর অনলাইন কোর্সেস which will help your career, কারণ at the end of the day আমাদের এত পড়াশোনা, এত কি বলবো বলিদান বলো বা আত্মত্যাগ বলো, it's just because we want to be someone and so that we can look after our family, correct? So having said that, there are a lot of career options, like আমি বলতে পারি যারা হয়তো বিএসসি বা এমএসসি করছে তাদেরকে একটা প্রথাগত দিক থেকে, সো দিস ইজ ডিবেটেবল ইস্যু, বাট স্টিল আই এম সেইং যে বলবো যে কলেজের টিচার, ডব্লিউবিসিএসসি, ব্যাংক, দিস আর দ্য প্রসপেক্টস, দিস আর দ্য গভর্নমেন্ট জবস। হোল্ড অন, কারেক্ট, you are the not only people who are applying for this job, there are thousands and thousands of students applying for this job, and I can assure you যে প্রত্যেকজন গভর্নমেন্ট চাকরি পাবে না, correct? So what else we can do? I'll be showing up like a small hole, correct, but you will be the minds যারা এই হোলের থ্রু দিয়ে তোমরা দেখবার চেষ্টা করো যে there are vast majority of job opportunities are there. You have to just stronger, or like you have to take those courses to strengthen your CV, কারণ অনেক সময় আমরা অনেক লেট করে ফেলি আর ভাবি যে এই চাকরিটা আমি করতে পারতাম, কিন্তু ওই একটা ছোট্ট জিনিস নেই বলে আমি করে উঠতে পারলাম। সেজন্য just explore it. You have time, you can explore those opportunities so that you can decide now যে আমি এটাও করতে পারতাম। as for example তুমি একটা ছোট্ট কোর্স করলে ফর ড্রাগ ডিসকভারি, সো আজ থেকে যেভাবে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি কোভিড এর জন্য এত একটা ড্রাগের জন্য কম্পিটিশন, সো মেবি ইউ ল্যান্ডেড আপ ইন আ বায়োটেক কোম্পানি যেখানে তোমার ওই কোর্সটাতে হেল্প করে দিল। yes, you have a molecular biology field, you have everything, and you have that course, so you can land up into that biotech company. Having said that, in the next few slides I'll be talking about the courses, online courses, and these courses are not from any university, but these are from Oxford, Stanford or MIT, correct? Just imagine, মানে আমার সময় আমি ভাবতে পারতাম না যে আমি ঘরে বসে মানে বর্ধমানের রাজ কলেজের একটা স্টুডেন্ট একটা মেসে বসে ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ অক্সফোর্ডে ক্লাস করবে। ফর মি ইটস আ ড্রিম, মানে ড্রিমও নয় বোধহয়, আমি জানতেই পারতাম না। And the best part is you guys can afford it because it's free. I'm mentioning it's free. একদম তোমরা করতে পারো, হয়তো সার্টিফিকেট পাওয়ার জন্য হয়তো 2-4 হাজার টাকা লাগবে, বাট সার্টিফিকেটের জন্য পরে ভাবলাম লেটস সি দোজ কোর্সেস যে আমি কি এটার জন্য অ্যাপ্রোপ্রিয়েট অ্যান্ড আমি কি কোর্সটা করতে চাই। আর সব থেকে বড় ব্যাপার তুমি অনেক কোর্সগুলো এক্সপ্লোর করবে একটার পর একটা অপশন, সো ইউ উইল বি মাচ মোর পজিটিভ। ইয়েস, দিস অ্যামাউন্ট অফ career opportunities are waiting for you, correct? So I'll be showing just 3 of them. First is EDX. This is a course from University of Oxford, and you have an array of course. Science এর জন্য শুধু নয়, science, art and architecture, law, electronics, everything is there. Food and nutrition, health and safety. এগুলো আমরা জীবনে ভাববোই না যে হেলথ এন্ড সেফটি নিয়ে আমরা চাকরি পেতে পারি, কারেক্ট? ইন স্পেশালি বাঙালিরা তো চট করে ভাববেন, মানে হ্যাভিং সেড দ্যাট আমি নিজেও বাঙালি, বাট আমার বাবা মা জীবনে ভাববে না যে হেলথ এন্ড সেফটি ছেলেকে পড়ায় তাহলে ওটা চাকরি পাবে। বাট ইয়েস, দেয়ার আর অপরচুনিটিস, এক্সপ্লোর দোজ, কারেক্ট? Second, Coursera. It is a big umbrella under which you have Illinois, Duke, Google, IBM, Imperial College of London, Penn and Stanford. Lot of courses. I'm saying there are a lot of courses. Just go into it, join for free and go through it, and you will have a universe of opportunities that you can take, correct? C is from the Harvard University. Again, you can see it's not only about science, it's humanities, health and medicine, data science, business and everything. Explore them. So basically I am a science student, correct? And I'll be just for the last few slides I'll be talking যেটা এখন আমি প্রেজেন্টলি করছি। সো নট অনলি আমি করছি, বোধহয় ওয়ার্ল্ডের এখন প্রতিটা জায়গাতে আমরা একটা জিনিস দেখতে পাই, সেটা হচ্ছে প্রোগ্রামিং। অ্যান্ড প্রোগ্রামিং বললে আমরা তো ভয় খেয়ে যাই, C++, জাভা, আই ক্যান নট। হোল্ড অন, সত্যি কি ক্যান নট? মানে আমরা কি ভেবে নিয়েছি আগে থেকে ক্যান নট, না আমাদের পক্ষে সম্ভব ছিল? Maybe C++, Java are very big programming thing, but what about R and Python? There are very simple programming language. I'm telling you because I myself having these courses right now. And Python and R programming is not for science students. Please, these are for every sphere. Like I'm mentioning only two of this. There's MIT Political Science, and they are teaching introduction of data science with Python. So it's a political science, correct? And this is for social sciences because at least we are in a digital era যেখানে অনেক 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 ভলিউম অফ ডেটা রয়েছে। অ্যান্ড এভরি গভর্নমেন্ট অফিস থেকে শুরু করে একটা প্রাইভেট অফিস সেই ডেটাটাকে দেখতে চায়। ফর এক্সাম্পল, যে আমি যদি ভাবি যে একদম বটমে যে আমাদের যে মিড ডে মিল কত ছেলে খাচ্ছে, কত ছেলে পাচ্ছে না, তার জন্য কি ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন, কোন জেলায় কত আছে, এটা ডেটা। অ্যান্ড হাউ উই ক্যান অ্যানালাইজ দ্যাট? ইউ ক্যান অ্যানালাইজ থ্রু Python, you can analyze for R. Like even in the COVID era, you can see a graph, correct, where you can see like আচ্ছা এই সময় ইউএসএ বাড়লো, এই সময় সাউথ কোরিয়ায় বাড়লো, এই সময় সিঙ্গাপুরে বাড়লো, এই সময় ইন্ডিয়া বাড়লো। দিস আর এগেন থ্রু পাইথন। সো দিস থিংস আর এভরিওয়্যার। হয়তো তুমি যদি ছোট্ট হয়তো কোর্স করে রাখলে, আমি বলছি না করতেই হবে, হয়তো যদি করে রাখো, তুমি হয়তো কোনদিন কোনো একটা চাকরিতে গিয়ে অ্যাপ্লাই করলে, তখন তুমি একটা ক্যান্ডিডেট থেকে তুমি এই জন্য এগিয়ে গেলে, ও এই পাইথনটা না, তাহলে স্ট্যাটসটা চট করে করে দেবে। So these are the things. So these are only one of these because আমি এই দিকটা জানি বলে আমি এই দিকটা এনলাইট করার চেষ্টা করছি, but there will be hundreds of things that you can explore through this website. Secondly is artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is again two booming thing, correct? This is one of the many upcoming job market. কারণ এখন সবকিছু অটোমেটেড দিকে যাচ্ছে। জাস্ট ফর এক্সাম্পল, আমরা এখন ভাবছি যে থার্মাল স্ক্রিনিং, অটোমেটেড থার্মাল স্ক্রিনিং, কারেক্ট? সো দিস আর দ্য থিংস, দেয়ার আর মেনি থিংস উইচ আর অটোমেটেড। অ্যান্ড মেশিন লার্নিং কেন? যে একটা মেশিনকে আমি এমনভাবে প্রোগ্রাম করব যে আস্তে আস্তে সে আরো বেশি এফিশিয়েন্ট হয়ে যাবে, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট উইল বি লেস এরর প্রোন, রাইট? সো this has a lot of implications. So you can just Google, you can just write what are the uses of machine learning, and it will show you 100 options. So I'll be just touching the machine learning thing which I am doing right now, or my research is concerned with, is like this is a simple Drosophila, right? And I myself don't know like how this machine learning works in it. I'm just the end user to use this. So this is a Drosophila where we can manipulate the neurons. যে আমি একটা নিউরনকে মিউটেট করে দিলাম, একটা জিনকে মিউটেট করে দিলাম, and then we try to see what is its gate problem. Like আমরা জানি যে পার্কিনসন্স বা আমরা যেগুলো তোমার স্কা, যেগুলোতে তোমার নানা রকম মুভমেন্ট ডিসঅর্ডার্স, তাতে কি হবে দেখি। অ্যান্ড ইটস ভেরি রোবাস্ট অ্যান্ড ইটস অটোমেটেড। আমাকে যদি বলা হয় যে চোখে এটা করতে, আমি পারবো না। সো রেকর্ড ইট, I just put that program into a software and everything is handled by the software. Similarly, if we move much more into detail, this is a mouse. Again, the same thing, machine learning. So you can see that challenge the mouse, like you mutate something, you give it some drug and try to see what is its problem in the molecular, motor control. তারা কি আঙুলগুলো ঠিক করে নাড়াতে পারছে, তাদের কি প্রবলেম হচ্ছে। Similarly, it can be applied to humans also. এখন নানা রকম পোজ এস্টিমেশন হচ্ছে, and তারা দেখতে চাইছে যে একটা ব্রেনের পার্ট কিভাবে একটা পার্টকে কন্ট্রোল করছে থ্রু মোটর নিউরনস, কারেক্ট? So these are the things which are part of the research, and but these are mere examples because এটা হয়তো অনেক জায়গাতে আছে, but yes, আমি যেহেতু এই নিয়ে রিসার্চটা করছি তাই এটা আমি শেয়ার করলাম। So having said that, I will try to summarize the thing. অনেক কিছু বললাম, হয়তো অনেক কিছু মনে থাকবে, অনেক কিছু থাকবে না, but in a very short note, be flexible in this COVID situation, be happy with small achievements, practice sharing and take self-care. And I think if we have these things and have a positive attitude, we can overcome this pandemic together. So having said that, again, once again, all of you stay safe, and thank you to organizers and especially Arun for inviting me, contacting me rather to whether I'm willing to give this talk. I'm probably the youngest, so a bit nervous, but I think through this talk I'm able to help the students. Thank you, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Please, okay. Okay.
Thank you for your excellent talk. And actually, it was a talk on very practical aspects, and from the students' point of view, it was very helpful. And indeed, it was very informative at the same time. Now I would like Dr. Shreyoshi Gupta and Dr. Ipshita Saha to take on the question forum. Ipshita, your mic is muted. Unmute your mic. Shreyoshi, your mic is muted. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Animesh Banerjee, for this enlightening talk, which was so lucid that our students can also understand that. So thank you for that. Actually, I want to ask you one question that you talked about the machine learning, machine intelligence. So what do you think that after COVID will be over, so teachers can be replaced by laptops or mobile phones? We are scared of it.
So I don't think that machine learning will replace the teachers, because I think anywhere in the world teachers cannot be replaced, correct? That's the main thing, because if there are no human teachers, so teaching is not possible. So machine learning is not per se like that. Machine learning is particularly to analyzing the behavior, to analyzing the gait. Like if you want to differentiate, like to understand the motor control, like which part of your brain controls which part of your body, correct? This is done through machine learning. Tara behavior টাকে দেখবে and করবে. Artificial intelligence, again, of course, এখানে হয়তো কিছু জায়গাতে মানে even in our Changi airport, like Singapore airport, have robots which actually see people throwing rubbish on the road or not. Of course, there are robots, but again, per se there is a robot to see that, but you need a human being to analyze those videos, correct? So I don't think ever this artificial intelligence or this machine learning will replace the human beings or the teachers, but this is to analyze the gait, the human personality, behavior from a research or medical perspective, so that we can find a better cure, or like we can analyze our brain in a much better way.
Okay, thank you. আর একটাই প্রশ্ন করার ছিল যে যারা আইসোলেটেড থাকছে, লাইক কোনো স্টুডেন্ট হয়তো হোস্টেলে রয়েছে বা যারা বাইরে পোস্ট ডক করছে, তারাও যেমন আইসোলেটেড রয়েছে, তো হোয়াট উড বি ইয়োর সাজেশন টু দেম, যে তারা কি একে তারা স্ট্রেসড রয়েছে, তারপরে যদি আরো মেশিনের মাধ্যমে মানে ল্যাপটপ বা ফোনের মাধ্যমে যদি পড়াশোনা করতে যায়, তো তাদের কি একটু বেশি অ্যাংজাইটি বা স্ট্রেস হবে না? সেটা নিয়ে যদি কিছু বলেন।
I don't think so, because I think I myself is stressed not because I am on the laptop, but probably I am much more stressed যে আমি হয়তো মানে যেটা আগে ছিল যে আমি এই সময় চাইলে আমি ইন্ডিয়া ব্যাক করতে পারি to see my family, that is being curtailed, correct? We are not allowed to leave the country actually. So even if we leave, it's very hard to return back with lot of COVID test and everything. So আমি এটা বলবো না যে এটা স্ট্রেসড, বাট আমি বলবো যে কিছু যদি আমরা নতুন শিখতে পারি, ইট ইজ a bit of relaxing, কারণ অনেক সময় আমাদের যে কাজগুলো আমরা প্রতিদিন করছি, যেমন আমি হয়তো রিসার্চে আছি, সেটা হয়তো হয়ে উঠছে না, কারেক্ট? কারণ বিকজ অফ লট অফ ডিফারেন্স ইন রুটিন রাইট নাও। But in that meantime, if I'm taking a different course, so it is giving me a new window to look at the life. আমি আমার কাছে জিনিসটা হচ্ছে, যখন আমি একটা আলাদা কোর্স করি, এটা আমার কাছে অনেক স্ট্রেস ফ্রি, যে আমার যে মেন জায়গা থেকে আমার ফোকাসটা একটু সরিয়ে অন্যদিকে দেখছি, and I am happy with that. So of course it's a take, and every individual have to take that আমার এতটা বিজি স্কেডিউল আমার এই লাইফের মধ্যে, আমার লাইফ স্কেডিউলের সাথে, whether I am happy to take that course, and if it makes you happy, of course go for it.
থ্যাংক ইউ অনিমেষ বাবু। আমি ইপসিতা দিকে কিছু বলার জন্য বা কোয়েশ্চেন করার জন্য রিকোয়েস্ট করছি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you, Shreyoshi. At first, Dr. Banerjee, if you please stop your screen sharing.
Sorry.
Okay. Before asking the next question, I would like to thank you for your valuable and useful speech. The next question is, is there any solution for educational tour or for practical classes?
I think in India it's really tough, correct? But yes, we have to find a way, correct? So I can suggest, like, if there are 20 students in a batch, and আমি খুব ভালোভাবে জানি যে 20 স্টুডেন্টস একটু হয়তো কাছাকাছি বসে যাবে, so what if we divide it into 2 different time slots? Like আমি বলতে পারি আমার বেবি এখন স্কুলে যাচ্ছে, but he is in nursery, মানে কোনো স্কুলই নয় টেকনিক্যালি, ওর জন্য প্লে স্কুলে থাকে, বাট ইট ইজ অলসো স্ট্যাগার্ড, মিনস ওই স্কুলে হয়তো মাত্র 10টা বাচ্চা আছে, সো 5 is coming on the morning, 5 is in the afternoon. সো একটা বাচ্চাকে যদি এরকম পারে তাহলে why not we? আমরা কি প্র্যাকটিক্যাল ক্লাসটা এভাবে করতে পারি না যে ঠিক আছে সকাল থেকে 10 জন এলো আর বাকি 10 জনকে নেক্সট বার এলো? অফকোর্স ইট উইল বি আ পেন ফর দ্য টিচার্স এগেন, কারণ তাকে একই জিনিস দুবার রিপিট করতে হচ্ছে, there is no doubt about it, but I think everybody is in a situation and everybody is taking a pain, so why can't we? Correct.
Okay, and how to motivate the students? Actually, কি করে প্যারেন্টসরা তাদের মোটিভেট করতে পারে এখন যে সমস্ত ফিজিক্যাল ডিস্টেন্সের জন্য তো মেন্টাল স্ট্রেসও হচ্ছে?
Definitely, means I can understand, because I think আমি আমার বোনের সাথে প্রতিদিনই কথা বলি এই নিয়ে, মানে আমি যে টকটা দিলাম সেটা বোধহয় অনেকটা ওদের সাথে কথা বলতে বলতেই চলে এসছে। সো পেরেন্টসদের পক্ষে শুধু আমি এটুকুই বলবো যে give space to your parent child. They need not, of course we all are anxious, correct? Parents are also anxious. We are never adjusted or ever stayed for home for such a long time, correct? Me and my wife is also stressed up, correct? To have a kid and entertain him for 24 hours is a big pain, correct? So we can only try যে আমাদের যে অ্যাংজাইটিটা সেটা যেন আমাদের বাচ্চাদের প্রতি যাতে আমরা বেরিয়ে না ফেলি, তাকে যেন আমরা বেশি বকে না ফেলি। কারণ একটা বাচ্চার মন খুব নরম হয়, কারেক্ট? দে আর ভেরি মাচ, আমরা নিজের বুঝতে পারি না কখন সে কোনটা ওকে খুব বাজেভাবে হার্ট করে ফেলবে, ঠিক আছে? আমরা বড় হয়তো পারি কিন্তু বাচ্চা পারবে না, কারেক্ট? লেট ইট বি ইভেন আ গ্র্যাজুয়েশন স্টুডেন্ট, বিকজ দে হ্যাভ লট অফ এক্সপেকটেশনস। তারা হয়তো কেউ হয়তো বড় একটা ইঞ্জিনিয়ার হতে চায়, কেউ হয়তো বড় হয়তো ডাক্তার হতে চায়। সো দে হ্যাভ লট অফ এক্সপেকটেশন ফ্রম দেয়ার লাইফ। অ্যান্ড আজকালকার ফেসবুকের যুগে আমরা দেখতে পাই যে আমার বন্ধু এটা করছে, আমি পারছি না। So there are a lot of anxiety. So from parents perspective, I will say understand them, talk to them, and try to come to a solution. Of course সব সলিউশন হয়তো বোঝানো পারবে না। আজকে যদি আমার স্টুডেন্ট বাচ্চা যদি চায় যে ল্যাপটপ চায়, হয়তো আমার সেই ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশন নেই যে টু বাই আ ল্যাপটপ। মেক দেম আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড অ্যান্ড তার থেকে আমরা কি করতে পারি, কারেক্ট? ইফ উই ক্যান নট বাই আ ল্যাপটপ, ক্যান উই গো ফর আ স্মার্টফোন সো দ্যাট তার নিডটা আমি সলভ করলাম কিছুটা। সো বেস্ট থিং, টক টু ইউর কিড, টক টু ইউর বেবি নয়, মানে বাচ্চার সাথে কথা বলুন অ্যান্ড তাদের প্রবলেমটা শুনবার চেষ্টা করুন। তারা হয়তো এমন একটা সলিউশন আপনাকে দিতে পারে যেটা হয়তো আপনি ভাবেননি। সো বি ফ্র্যাঙ্ক, একদম বাবা মা হয়ে কঠোর ভাবে কথা বলবেন না। বি ফ্রেন্ড, কারণ এখন ওদের যেহেতু নিজেদের বন্ধুর সাথে ওরা কথা বলতে পারছেন না, আপনারাই হচ্ছেন ওদের বিগেস্ট ফ্রেন্ড নাও। সো শেয়ার উইথ দেম, লিসেন টু দেয়ার প্রবলেম, এবং যতটুকু আমরা করতে পারি সেটুকু করবার চেষ্টা করা। আর কিছু বলার নেই বোধহয় এর থেকে।
Okay, thank you. There are lots of questions are coming to us, but due to shortage of time, we can't be able to discuss now right time. The participants can place their question in the chat section of our YouTube channel or in our webinar mail account. Thank you to all of you. And now I hand over the next part of this session to Dr. Angana Ghoshal. Over to you, Anganadi.
Thank you for this excellent interactive forum. And it was really a very good response from the part of the viewers. This 2-day international webinar was really a success, and we know due to the shortage of time, as Dr. Ipshita Shah has already mentioned, that we could not attend to many of the questions and many of the viewers, but on behalf of the Department of Zoology, I say that it is the order of the new normal, as Dr. Banerjee had already said, and so please feel free to post your queries on our Gmail account. Now, I would request Dr. Shorbendu Bikashdhar, convener IQAC of TDB College, to please deliver his vote of thanks. Shorbendu da, we can't hear you. শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
No sound, no sound. কোনো
just a request from the organizers that due to some technical issues, the sound is being hampered. So please bear with us till we get it fixed. Okay, so on this virtual platform, I request the faculty members that if they have any questions or if they can share any of the views, then you all are free to share on this platform. Please do share your views regarding this webinar.
I would like to thank all our speakers for delivering those speeches. Thank you all.
Okay, I would like to request all participants and all organizers, please have patience. Our IQAC convener have got some technical problems for the internet and he will be joining us soon. Thank you.
I would request Dr.
Thank you everybody. Have some patience. হ্যাঁ অঙ্গনাদি, আমি বলছি যে সবাই অনেকক্ষণ ধৈর্য ধরে অপেক্ষা করেছেন। প্লিজ
অনিমেষ বাবুর সাথে যদি কোনো ইন্টারাকশন থাকে তুমি করতে পারো, বিকজ দিস ইজ বিং ব্রডকাস্টেড লাইভ, সো ইউ ক্যান ক্যারি অন আনটিল হি গেটস দ্য টেকনিক্যালিটি সলভড।
না, আমার অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্রশ্ন ছিল অনিমেষ বাবুর কাছে যে আর পাইথন নিয়ে আপনি বলছিলেন, তো ওটা যদি একটু ডিটেলে আমাদের সাথে একটু বলেন, কেননা আমারও খুবই ইন্টারেস্ট আছে পাইথন আর শেখায়। তো যেহেতু আমরা একটু সময় পেয়েছি, আপনি যদি কাইন্ডলি দু চার কথা বলেন সেটা নিয়ে, যে কিভাবে যে একজন টিচার সে আর পাইথন শিখতে চায়, তো কি ওয়েবসাইটে সে শিখতে পারে বা আদৌ সে শিখতে পারে কিনা, এরকম যদি কিছু বলেন আর কি, দু চার কথা।
So, am I audible? শুনতে পাচ্ছেন আপনারা, correct?
হ্যাঁ, ভালো হবে।
So, the R and Python আমি হয়তো just শিখছি, because আমাদের এখানেতে আমি যে ইনস্টিটিউটে আছি, they run a free classes for this. So for me it's very efficient. It's a 10-week course for each of them. So for R and Python per se. So, and we attend these online classes and then followed by this assignment and project. I can forward you, মানে আমার কাছে ওজনের নাম্বার আছে, I can forward you and website link যেখানে interaction through দিয়ে আপনারা শিখতে পারেন। And the part, if you learn these things, like especially the R as well as Python, so আপনারা যেটা করেন না যে at the end of the day যে result করছেন বা কিছু করছেন, if you form that format once, next time থেকে there is nothing like, it's an Excel sheet, মানে যেমন আপনারা টাইপ করলেন and everything will come out. Even যদি ইও করতে চান,
we will personally contact you. Actually I am sorry, we cannot talk about this now as because our IQAC chairman is here. Thank you, Anima sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorbendu, you can carry on.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes,
Hello?
perfect audible.
Okay, okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry to you all for this inconvenience. Technical issues was there some. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Angona. Now we have reached almost to the end of this 2 days international webinar, and it is my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Myself, Dr. Sharbindu Vikas Dhar, Coordinator IQAC on behalf of Triveni Devi Bhalotia College, Raniganj, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing this webinar through this august presence and sharing with us their thoughts and opinions. In the very beginning, I must mention our deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to Professor Sadhan Chakraborty, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kazi Nazrul University, Asansol, for enlightening us with his candid explanation and analysis of the present scenario today. He has always been there as a guide, providing encouragement in all our attempts. As we know, we all are now passing through a very harsh time due to this COVID-19 pandemic situation. But at the same time, from this webinar, it is quite clear that it has some opportunities too. As rightly mentioned by my colleague Ishita during today's opening session, that this pandemic has some positive effects on our environment. Not only that, this pandemic has taught us the way to stay connected virtually, even globally. Especially, it has benefited the academy. And in this connection, harnessing the benefit of global virtual connectivity during this 2 days webinar, we are fortunate enough to have with us Dr. Shumeda Roy from Belgium yesterday, Dr. Raj Kumar Koiri from Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Momita Shamanto from Hyderabad, and today we are fortunate enough to have Dr. Rupesh Srivastava from AIMS New Delhi, and obviously Dr. Animesh Banerjee from Singapore. We are very grateful to all our respected resource persons, respected speakers, for vividly presenting the current pandemic scenario, discussing various technical health related issues, discussing unending opening of learning from home, and given an excellent coverage on global COVID-19 condition. We are all inspired by your great words. I would like to thank all the participants of this webinar for their enormous cooperation in the organizing this event. At the same time, I do believe that organizing an online program like this requires enormous planning and hard work. We have been backed by a team of motivated technical crew and dedicated colleagues in our college who have proved this venture into a fruitful one with their dedication. In this regard, I would specially thank to our principal sir, Dr. Ashish Kumar De. Without his support and encouragement, this webinar would not have been possible. We are also fortunate enough to have an active seminar committee, website maintenance committee, who from their homes have worked really hard to make this webinar a reality. But last not the least, I would like to thank to all our dear students. Their involvement, participation motivated us every time we take any new project. So I end here with a positive hope that this webinar will help all of us to combat the ill effects of COVID-19 in this coming new normal world. Stay healthy, be safe. Thank you. Now over to Dr. Angona.
Okay, so thank you, Shorvinduda, for your very nice, encouraging words. And really, these 2 days of international webinar has been a very good learning process. And I heartily thank all our speakers who, amidst their busy schedule, had took the pain to express and share their views with us. So with this, I conclude today's webinar, and this event. Thank you all. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.